thought out and planned previously. Get yourself, your family, and your immediate circle to safety before you start thinking about any of them. It's their problem, basically, at the end of the day. It's the same as,
yeah,
your neighbour's knocking at your door asking for food. Well,
It's definitely true regarding that, and I think that just going off of what you're saying, preparedness veteran, and both you and Daria love, like I do believe that it's something that people should obviously just understand the severity of most situations that can happen in a heartbeat. When people don't take onus for their decisions as well, it makes no sense. It really just, in a way, and just to be brash about it actually angers me. I know it shouldn't. I know that we should forgive and we should love people in that as well, but it really frustrates me when people have the mentality that they'll just take care of things at last minute, unless, however, they personally have the skill sets required to absolutely not need any preps whatsoever. If they believe that they can honestly get by with very, very little, and they have the skill sets and they've tested those skill sets before in real life situations, perhaps certain people that are vets as well have been through immense training and they know what they're capable of. For those people, that's fine. But I think that for the average person to not at least have a bug out bag at the very bare minimum, like just a little bit of gear, just a little bit of capability to improve and to dampen the impact of SHTF on yourself and your family. The idea of people leaving it to the last minute is so terrible, and it's not pragmatic whatsoever. And then, it makes no sense. There's no logical sense to it. Not only that, but they believe that they'll lean on other people. And what type of a person will wait until the last minute and then lean on other people to take care of themselves, or are that foolish that they can take a look at any history book and look at like how governments have treated situations like this, and yet they still believe that the government has their back. Like, I can't, it's concerning. It's concerning that people believe that the government, not even the government's fault. I'm not saying like that it's their fault always. I'm just saying realistically, in big SHTF type scenarios, there's just like their capability of assisting gets spread thin. So a person has to start taking like that identity and that role of becoming more prepared and not the gear side, but mentally getting themselves trained and more informed, more like knowledge on various different like elements of survival. Like it just bottom line, it just irritates me so much when people can absolutely do small little things, but they refuse to just because of normalcy bias.
And then they got the cheek to say, "Oh, you got prepping stuff. Oh, you got extra cans of baked beans. Oh, we'll come round your house." Then they got the cheek to say things like that because, but a lot of people are under pressure because they're paying their mortgage. They've got to pay their tax. They've got to do the school run. They've got to go shopping. They don't want to lose their job. They don't because they might lose their job. They might lose their wife. They might lose their family. It's like contrasting news. On the one hand, you listen to the news and it'll say, "Oh, there's war in Iraq. War has broken out in Afghanistan." And then after that, they go, "Oh, well, let's go to the football scores." And at the end of the football scores, they say, "Oh, there was a cat in the tree that got rescued." So, what do we believe? Is the war going to affect us? Is the football going to be Is the football more important? Is the cat in the tree okay now? I mean, so a lot of people are, but going back to what Peavy said there, if you get unconscious, what are you wearing? I mean, that actually hit home there because, if you get into a situation, what have you got immediately with you? What if you've run down the road and you broke your ankle? Have you got anything with you that can help yourself? You might not get 3 miles down the road. You might not get to your bug out location.
Bob,
what have you got with you immediately? Have you got first aid?
In my situation, I'll go back to my neighbors as an example. They're alcoholics and drug addicts.
Yeah.
These people, instead of spending their money on something useful, they'll spend it on getting messed up. Mm-hmm. And there's millions of them out there.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, well, we'll just wait for the government to rescue
the whole world is out of their nut.
Yeah. We'll all depend on, or all go looting. don't loot here. Don't
Hey,
do
Pop.
it.
But where
Ponder
do they
this
get
for a
the
minute.
idea? Where do they get these ideas? I mean, Hollywood pretty
TV.
much put
They don't
a lot
think
of this stuff.
clearly.
A lot of
They
this
can't-
stuff.
They
Yeah,
can't
but
think clearly.
a lot of the stuff is programming as well, because people watch TV, they say, well, oh, there's cowboys and Indians. And when you're children, you say, well, I want to be a cowboy. I want to be an Indian. Then you've got police, then you've got robbers. You know, you've got doctors, nurses. And there's some people like, well, I want to be peace-abiding citizen. Others want to be looters. So it's all everyone's kind of like playing this characters that have been programmed, you know, oh, I'm just going to go out and steal and rob and
Yeah.
sell drugs
you
and make
you
my
can drill
living.
this back to the mentality and psychological aspect of prepping, and I think the brain will go to great lengths to normalize situations, not during disaster, during the aftermath, and so on and so on.
Yeah.
It was an analysis done where they the outcome of this analysis was the fact that why do people doom scroll? Why are people hooked on watching the news and this sort of stuff? And people want to know that the event isn't happening there; it's happening somewhere else.
Yeah.
If they're watching TV and they say 3 people got stabbed, in X town, oh, that's okay. Oh yeah, bad news, but it's over there. It's not happening here.
Not affecting us, yeah.
So the normalization of events, even the comprehension of events, will try and be normalized by
Yes.
unaccustomed people who haven't considered various scenarios. So when it comes to modifying your prep, go on, John. Sorry.
If you're talking about, people looting and people doing stuff like that, and I only can speak for what's kind of happening over here in New York and stuff like that, where you had an individual who intervened to help everybody out, and now they're trying to put him in jail, that Daniel Penny.
You see? Stuff like that.
They wonder why people just stand and watch. Well, if you get involved and you happen to be the wrong ethnic group or whatever, all of a sudden you find yourself, in jail. So, they're kind of training you to sit back and not do anything. I mean, it's like the media and the government and everything else is just trying to make people docile.
What's that 21 feet rule, PV?
Yeah, it's called there was a drill, some sheriff or police officer in America called the Chula drill,
Shannon.
which basically
Good to
says
see you,
that,
man.
which basically says if you engage someone with a pistol or firearm within 21 feet and they've got a knife, they will still get you. That was the rule.
Hey, Sean.
So the engagement sort of perimeter estimation is called the 21-foot rule. So don't let the assailant get within 21 feet of you if they've got a knife, because they'll be on you. That was the.
Oh yeah. Someone
the
who's got
problem
an iron
with
heart and fast hands with a knife, you're dead.
Yep.
the problem with if you compare guns to knives is more deadly because it's silent.
There's a famous, not so famous, but as an example I saw, which I always tell people about. It was in Argentina. It was by the Modern Survivalist. He showed one of his videos, and it basically showed this example. This guy who had an altercation with his wife, and he was stood at a bus stop, frustrated. He still had the knife with him, and the police got wind of what was happening. Police turned up. All the police were armed. This guy just had a knife. By the end of the scenario, the guy was dead, and 3/4 of the police were dead as well, because he'd gone round, stabbed them, and even though he shot multiple times, he kept going. That's sort of the outcome of this 21-foot Chula drill rule sort of thing. So,
Yeah, but what GP was saying before, talking about being prepared and people gonna rob you and do all this stuff. So McBean would know this because I lived in northern New Jersey for most of my life. Right before some epic snowstorm is coming, what happens? Everybody who's not prepared or hasn't even thought about it is now going to the grocery stores, buying milk, toilet paper, and bread. 3 things. It's like, really? I guess that prepared everybody for 2020. But they just run out, and I would just go to the supermarket parking lot and sit in the back corner and watch and laugh, because they're just running in there and buying everything they can and you might be snowed in for a day till the plows come through. That's it. But this is the mindset that people have these days: is something's coming, let me go prepare now, and then there's nothing left. And like I said, and I'm running to go buy a 6-pack of beer because sure as hell I'm going to sit in my front window and watch these idiots get stuck in the snow, thinking they're going to get out in 4 inches of snow with car tires and go to the store because you're dumb and you never prepared.
I think my wake up call, on that thing is it might have been around 2012 or whatever. I went to the pantry and I looked at everything I had and said, okay, if I can't get food, how many days, weeks, whatever do I have that I can feed the family? And here I was thinking, oh man, I'd be able to feed the family for a couple of weeks, and and it was 3 days. And I said, that's just a terrible position to be in. And so I started making corrective action at that time. I have a brother who lives down in Florida, and I asked him, I said, well, how many weeks provisions do you have? He goes, what do you mean? I said, well, you have these things called hurricanes that live down there. You should at least have 3 to 5 days. I mean, just minimum. And he didn't have anything. And I said, and I can't understand that why you wouldn't have at least a week or two of supplies.
I understand what you're saying. Yeah, I understand exactly what you're saying. I can't understand that mentality of leaving your family wide open.
Has the people been programmed to be like this? Have people been programmed to be so complacent that back in the days, people's whole culture was about preparing for summer, preparing for winter. We prepare fire logs in the summer for the winter when it's cold, when we need firewood. When I used to go on holiday in Greece, I used to go to my uncle's back garden, and they'd have logs all along this wall. And I say, what's all the logs for? I mean, I was a city kid, like of 12 years old. What's all the logs for? Oh yeah, that's winter time. We're preparing for the winter time. But today people are, they're just not prepared at all for anything.
No, they've been programmed to believe that if they need something, just go to the store and get it. The store's always going to have stuff.
Yeah, things like Saturday Night Fever didn't help. Yeah, get your nice shirt ready, get your going out trousers on. John Travolta movie, Saturday Night Fever, clubbing it on a Friday, clubbing it on a Saturday. You've been working all week. You've got to go out. You've got to watch. Go and watch a movie. Go and get your beer. They've been programmed to be so complacent that when something happens, they just haven't got no idea. And also the disconnect from nature and our creator and what it's just horrific, the disconnection. Why has the world got so evil? We talk about wars, we talk about but we forget that times are we hear about children trafficking, we hear about women trafficking, we hear about a lot of stuff that's evil.
It's being allowed to happen.
I think there's many levels.
And to the point that when stuff happens, people have got no protection. You've got no faith. How do we deal with it? People are going to lose their minds. I can't go to the ATM machine, can't get money. I've not prepared. My neighbour's rejecting me now. I mean, what do we do? Do we totally just okay, they're cocked up. They're sitting outside, we're inside, we're eating our beans, drinking. Some cases, some people might have a beer watching it all happen. What do? We just look at these people sat on a doorstep outside, crying with their Gucci shirts on, and just leave them there. So we're going to all be tested. Our humanity is all going to be tested here.
You bring up a valid point, and what's going to happen is, you're going to have to be cruel to keep yourself survival.
Yeah.
The best thing you can do right now is you can try to convince your neighbors and your friends in that to put food away, because the better that everybody is supplied, the better it is for the whole community.
I agree with that. Definitely.
Yeah, I've had friends say, "Oh man, shit hits the fan, I'm coming out to your area," and I said, "Well, what are you bringing? If you think you're coming out here as payload, you're not."
Yeah,
I just tell them I'm not going to be home.
that's a good
Yeah.
thing.
They're gonna have to add something.
Every
I'm-
conversation I have, I tell people get extra food, get prepared. Every time I have a conversation now, I remind someone.
I think the leaders in this sort of field of sharing preparedness mindsets, plans, and facilities, and so on, is the Scandinavian countries, because
100%, absolutely.
you know,
they are. Yep.
and not only, I mean, Shadow will tell us this, but not only are they the sort of the leaders in sharing resources at a governmental level, but Switzerland as well. Switzerland had this policy for years where there's a place for every person in society in a bunker, and so on.
Oh, wow.
And Shadow will tell you that they've got what they call them, Shadow community preparedness groups on a national level and this sort of thing.
Wow.
And also
Yeah,
hands-on.
That's still true. I mean,
Yeah,
is that still
something
true,
like that.
Shadow? Because we don't have that here.
No, we have to be self-reliant. There's just too many people in the U.S.
Yeah.
Way too many people.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
maybe back in the 50s, there might have been fallout shelters and that, but does anybody know where their shelters are, or if they even have them anymore?
We don't have them out here.
I've got relation
We don't
in.
know.
I know someone in Cyprus, and they said to me the other week, because of the Middle Eastern situation, that the government have now told everybody to seek out a bomb shelter, whether it be share with their neighbours or go to a community bomb shelter and this sort of stuff. Not we'll provide one for you. Seek your own out. You're on your own sort of thing. But yeah, Shadow, can you tell us a bit about how it is on a national level?
We have a lot of bomb shelters here in this country, but the problem is most of them, they made storage units of them. And some of those bomb shelters they made apartments of as
That's
well.
what they did with mine. Mine is now an apartment building.
Wow.
So, for instance,
that is not a good idea. So now that we have a problem, they didn't maintain them as good as they should have. So they didn't qualify on that high level as it should be. So
I mean, in recent times, going off of the current situation of world events and so on, how many other countries have recently published a preparedness update pamphlet? Sweden just haven't they?
Yeah, I saw that. Shadow put that out.
Yeah.
Very handy for them to do that.
I thought,
good forward thinking.
I thought that was quite a good, very good actually.
Yes.
And just to get the people thinking. It's just like an initiative to get that mentality, just to get them thinking that way. So then, they just take care of the other things themselves, because that's essentially what you're doing. Is you're encouraging them to, nationwide, to have that type of mindset. So if we did experience some sort of global thing like we did in maybe 2020 as well, that 2019, if you want to call it that. That type of any type of illness that crosses the world. And look, they definitely have mentioned that that situation that we had, we will be getting another one relatively soon as well, and that you can add to the whole list.
They're talking about one out of South Africa. Sit there and out of 300 people, 179 died, and most of them were between the ages of 16 and 18. So I mean, it's
concerning.
I tell you, and this is just a personal observation I made when I was in college.
That was
and I'm not gonna. But I used to take care of, we had a couple snakes at the college. We had 2 common boas and we had a rainbow boa, and I used to take care of the mice that we would use for lab experiments, and we'd also use to feed them. And when I first got there, we had maybe 15 mice. So what I did is I paired them up in different cages, and I had so many cages. And when the population of the mice got above 200, every time we would see diseases, cancers, cannibalism. all the time. And then I would sit there and I would remove, say, 150 of them out, and all that would disappear again. And once that population hit that number again, you know, I had only so many cages. They had 20 cages. Once they got above the 200 level, the diseases came back, the cancers came back, the cannibalism came back, the deviant behaviors appear when that population hit there. Now, granted, here in America, we're still a sparse population, but it has been growing. We've probably doubled in the last, 40 years. But you look at a place like India and China, and a lot of your African nations that have literally hundreds and hundreds of millions of people in an area that can't support it, and you're starting to see these diseases. To me, I think it's a natural occurrence. It might be being helped by some man-made things, but I think as the population grows, we're going to see more of this. We're going to see more of the diseases.
Big time. It was man. Big time. It was caused by man. It was caused by bad leadership.
Just
I mean, where are they getting this deviant behavior? Where are they learning about this deviant behavior? I mean, if you read in the scripture, it talks about when the land has got a good king, even the land is happy, even nature's happy. But when you've got bad kings, everything is bad. The land is bad. It's evil mentality. There's greed. There's lust.
Look what your governments are defending. I mean,
this is like spiritual disease. It's not, it's not just to compare people.
I agree.
I mean, comparing people with mice. I mean, I'm going to pray for the scientists. I mean, if they're doing things like that, but the mismanagement of the resources, of the knowledge, they're running amok of education. We got Oxford in England, Cambridge. We talk about English, the language. I mean, it's a joke now. You look at adverts on television, and they're putting drill music with adverts, like with Chanel, and you're like, where is the connection? But it's in the world. It's connected.
What bathroom people should use right now? We've got that going on in our government. I mean, really?
So quickly,
you can't.
So this is something
say a man should go in a little bathroom.
So, Matt Bean, are you familiar with the Dunbar number?
I am not.
Okay, so it's exactly what you're talking about. Where you remove those masks for the study as well, like when you're busy making sure that they're healthy and that. I strongly recommend, like when you've got a bit of time off, even if it's after the stream or something like that, if you want to. But there's a very interesting study. It's DUN, so deep done, and then bar afterwards, so BAR. So DUN BAR. Look up Dunbar's number. It's exactly with what you're talking about when you spoke about the mass and the human connection. If you guys just Google it quickly on the side, if you just bring up Dunbar number for your own interest sake as well, it's something that you should all be familiar with, because when we're encountering what we are right now with the Dunbar number, it's exactly like why people are getting more depressed, why people are feeling more social anxiety, because there's a golden number, and it is coincidentally, when you said 150, that's the strangest thing, because the Dunbar's number is actually 150 relationships that a person should have and know. If you know more than 150 people, your mental state starts to decline. Like, you're not supposed to be surrounding yourself and familiarizing yourself with more than 150. So please do look up, specifically MacBean, like the Dunbar number.
Yeah, no, I have it up on the screen now, and I will be.
Well, yeah, we shouldn't be living in cities. We shouldn't be living like sardines, that's for sure.
No,
but they're telling us a lie. They're saying that it's overpopulation, there's not enough space, which is a lie. If you do the maths and take 7 billion people, say 8 billion people, and do the maths, how much square feet does each human being take? How much square feet does 8 billion people take? And how much square feet have we got on the planet? And you'll see that you could fit 8 billion people into a quarter of Australia, and they could have a land. They could have a land, house, and they could live happily ever after. But we're not. We're all living in the cities, and this is wrong. We're not supposed to live like this. And this is where I might say your studies might have something there. But well, definitely, we're not supposed to live like this. I mean, it's not rocket science. I mean, everybody looks at what your phone you got, what shoes you're wearing, or what truck's he driving, oh, what's he got, and what curtains has he got, and keep up the Jones mentality. We should all be living in a nice little house in the country. There's so much space, but there's mismanagement.
Well, I live on 14 acres, so I agree with you. I have no desire to live in the city. I went to college up in Chicago, and there's just no way I could stay there for a long
Filthy,
term.
dirty, dustbins everywhere. It's like the city. How to describe a city? One big dustbin. You've got big dustbins that never get cleaned. You've got rats like a foot long everywhere. What is that saying in England, PV? You're never 5 meters away from a rat.
Oh, politician. Oh, rats, yeah. Thing is, life is competition on every level. It's quite a competition.
They keep into cities, and they want us to. Oh, we need more infrastructure. We need more police, fire, all this stuff because we keep bringing more people in here, and then they raise the taxes, and then people leave. It's
they created a beast. They created a beast of a system, and now that beast wants sacrifice.
So it's a competition on many levels, from the personal level for the fight for survival, food and water, to competition for the job.
Competition and when you understand
everything. Competition to get through the traffic lights.
Real estate, countries wanting land back, etc., borders, conflict, etc. It's resources. So I mean, I don't think we're going to solve the problem here, but we get what you mean. Yeah,
it even starts when you're younger, in your teens, with the dating game. Like when you start dating as well, and start going for different couples.
You compete for everything. You compete for your mate. You compete for your food. You compete for your job. You compete for your children. I mean, I had a young man, and God bless him, but he was like, man, is life just a competition to you? And I said, absolutely. I said, you're here because of a competition. Your dad competed for your mother's attention, and their grandparents, and their grandparents, and you're the result of thousands of successful competitions. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. So yes, life is competition. All life is competition. Every level of every niche, every habitat, you have creatures competing to survive. And I think what is getting to the point where we have forgot, either in our ignorance or complacency, that we still need to compete.
Or we've been kept like that, or people have been kept purposely.
A lot of people have fallen for it. We call them sheep for a reason, And I mean, what I see out there, when I see comments made by people, that the comment is so basically fundamentally wrong. And that, I mean, I had one person, I said, I can't talk to you because we're at such different ends of this conversation. I don't see us, and it wasn't a bad conversation. I said, I just don't see us coming to any sort of conclusion here. I said, so, we're not being vulgar to each other. We're being nice to each other. So let's just leave it at that.
Agree to disagree. Yeah.
Well, I couldn't even agree to disagree. It just there was no bringing this one back. It's like he was fishing for a whale with 2-pound test line. It just ain't happening. But like I said, it wasn't a bad conversation, and I don't mind having those. But I think fundamentally we forgot that life is competition, and the basic of life is competition. And when you suppress that, bad things happen.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't believe what our politicians are fighting over right now. The stuff that they consider as important, it's just a joke, and it's on all sides of it. There's more important things that we should be doing with the abilities that this nation has, and we're pissing it away. We were on the moon 50 years ago. And now we're what? NASA's not doing nothing but launching communication satellites. I mean, we're going to be on Mars.
If I can divert for a moment, please.
Sure.
I think it is very important for everyone out there listening or on the panel, everywhere else, get a workstation and some tools and supplies and get busy. Stay busy, improving your position. That's very good for your mental health. It saves you money so you can buy more canned goods and put it away. But tools and a workstation, do it. That's all I want to say. Just improve your position, your own position. Forget the politicians. They're corrupt and they're evil. The mass media is evil. They are satanic. And get your tools and get busy so you can take care of it.
Because these people are prepping, and they're prepping on a large scale. We're prepping. We're talking about buckets of beans, buckets of rice. We're talking about our clothing. We're talking about our initial foundation, the basics. But we got to see. These people out there, these elites. They're prepping on such a massive scale. They're like, right, we'll take out Ukraine, and we'll procure our wheat for the future. It doesn't matter if it's 50 years' time. I mean, this is how massive these people are. Massive preppers. We prep. We might go, yeah, we've got a few tins in the cupboard, but these guys, they're like, yeah, okay, we'll wipe out Ukraine, and we'll procure the bread for us for 50 years down the line because we know about radiation. We've got information. We've done the research. We know that the radiation levels will come down. Food will begin to be safer. Whereas us people, we haven't got the privilege of having such knowledge, having this information. We live day to day, week by week, year by year. I mean, so like you're saying, Bob, if keep up as much as you can. We don't know when, we don't know how, but we can try and do our best.
CR's put a comment there. Take up a hobby. So no matter what the hobby is, make the hobby something that will benefit you in some way, shape, or form. Your group or family, your position, your location, etc., etc. And even if it contributes to your decision-making process, because flexibility. Let's go back to the subject of the stream here. How do you modify your preps in relation to world events? I mean, we mentioned earlier, the ability to make, mold, or modify things, cannibalize things, and if you've got the skills to woodwork, bend, forge steel, and that sort of stuff, you're in a super position, and it provides you those extra opportunities because, like we said, no plan survives first contact with the enemy. You might plan going, left, right, middle, or whatever, or plan A, plan E, plan B, plan C. Somewhere along those lines, something's going to change. Something's going to happen unexpectedly. It always does. And whatever your hobby is, it could aid you in making that situation better. Even if you are part of a group that, everyone in that group's got a different particular hobby or whatever it is. Some guy might be a ham radio expert, some guy might be
this is very good now.
A woodworker, some guy might be forger, welder, etc., boat builder, sailmaker. All these little hobbies. A sailor, for instance, some guy might go sailing every weekend. That's a key skill. Hobby, great. It keeps the mind going. It keeps active. There's been various studies, and even if it doesn't all pan out, there's been various studies done throughout the years to indicate that, when you reach a certain age, you either get a hobby, keep yourself in mind interest, or you end up sitting there staring at the floor thinking what I'm going to do, and you end up going
and springboard off of that bet. Stay away from the negatives. Negative things in life. Stay away from it. Get away from the mass media. For me, I stay away from that shit. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to have nothing to do with it because they're feeding me negative information that I cannot change. There's nothing I can do about it. So I focus on what I can do. And my hobby is preparedness. Gather tools, gather resources, make improvements or make it yourself, save a little money, and put that $2 or $3 you save making it towards some more cans of food.
Yeah.
This reminds me a little bit of the film I'm a Legend, and you got Will Smith was sitting on the pier with his radio saying, "Hi there, I'm here. I'm in the middle of the city. I've got some supplies. I've got medical stuff."
Let's go back to the original. Let's go back to the original Omega Man.
Oh, okay, I didn't remind us about Omega Man.
Omega Man. It's the I Am Legend is a remake of Omega Man, but
Yeah.
reimagined. Yeah. Charlton
So-
Heston.
Okay. Oh yeah, I do. I think I do remember that remember that vaguely. He's on the pier saying, "Is anybody out there?" So we're talking about hobbies, groups. It could be a good idea to start maybe networking, maybe to see if people in your local area who's into prepping, who's not into prepping. Start making lists, maybe just making notes, and maybe start telling people, "Look, I'm going to start putting a little group together every week, a little." Start off by having conversations about it. And like you're saying, who's got a skill, who's a carpenter, who's this. I mean, if you've got a community and then all of a sudden something happens and then you've got individuals sort of stuck in their own homes here, stuck there, other people, no one's connected, no one knows no one, so.
You got to approach that with caution. And
Yes,
you got to tread quite carefully. You don't want everyone knowing that you're into this immediately. Test the waters, drop it into conversations, see how their mindset pans out.
Yeah, find out about them first if they're into it. I mean, obviously, you don't go around saying, "Yeah, I've got like 15 cans of baked beans and 15 cans of tuna fish." And
that's what I do with my neighbors around here when we're about to get that 6 inches of snow that's going to paralyze everything. And I see them in the store. I'm like, you ever thought about maybe having a few extra days of food? Meanwhile, I'm in there buying stuff, looking like I need stuff. I'm like, do you ever think about having 4 or 5 days worth of food already in the house? Just cans and stuff. I mean, you can survive without a freezer and a refrigerator in the snow. Oh, put it outside. And, as long as you have heat, you're good. But they're all worried about buying toilet paper, milk, and bread. It's like, maybe if you just had some stuff that you could just eat, cans of soup, I don't care, ready to eat. Just go buy some, keep that in the house. That way, if something happens, and then use it during the year and then just buy some more. Just keep a few more than 1 can of soup and 20 bags of Doritos on your shelf and you'll be fine. And that's all they do. I go half my friends' houses. I don't really, they kind of know what I do, but not really. They just know I'm into cooking and stuff. So I cook a lot and freeze dry. And, I go in their house. I'm like, "What do you got in a cabinet?" I open the door. It's nothing but stacks of diet soda or any kind of soda and bags of chips everywhere and just garbage. I'm like,
I think
you get stuck in here for 3 days. You're going to eat. Oh, I'll be fine. I have a can of lima beans I'll open up. I'm like, okay, you're just going to die. Don't come to my house. Okay.
What animal is it that sort of does a crazy dance in front of rabbits and it's sort of like, it kind of hypnotizes them? Is it an otter or a beaver or no? Is it another type animal?
I thought that was a cobra.
No, there's a kind of it's not an otter type. It's an otter type animal or a beaver type animal. And
Probably
what it
a weasel.
does, a weasel. I think and they see a rabbit and they just start doing a crazy dance or jumping here, jumping there, and the rabbit sort of stopped.
And
Looking at it, mesmerized. It's like the world's like in that rabbit moment. There's all this crazy stuff going on, and they're sort of mesmerized, But some of us can see it. Oh, it's a weasel.
Pop goes the weasel. And pop goes the weasel. Yeah, and he's got you. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, but some of us are saying, "Hey, there's some crazy dance stuff happening." We see CERN. You might say, "What you're talking about?" But look at CERN. They did a sort of a dance off when they opened it up. This crazy dance, and they had this guy with a goat head, all this sort of satanic symbolism.
That is satanic. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a satanic ritual, and they done it when they opening of CERN or something. I think it was the opening.
Yeah, Shiva is the
Shiva, the destroyer.
destroyer.
Yep. And there was I even saw one video where there was allegedly there was a sacrifice going on, and this guy was secretly filming within CERN by that statue, the Shiva statue they got there. And anyway, he saw this someone getting sacrificed, allegedly, in the video.
They did the same thing when they opened up the channel tunnel, the channel, whatever it is.
Yeah,
they had a similar thing when they broke when the two holes met each other. They had some bizarre dancing ritual thing going on there too, and I remember that, and I got to go find that now because that was a long time ago.
Yeah,
same thing with CERN.
That sounds familiar because I have watched that video about that tunnel ceremony.
So a lot of people. I mean, you took people. Sorry, Shadow.
That was disgusting to watch, actually.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was really creepy.
It caught people off guard. People were like, what am I watching here? They're like, okay, well, we just call it art. It must be art. Some artist, like what they did at the Olympic Games with the Last Supper and all that.
The whole riding the beast at the Olympic, was it the Olympics or the Commonwealth Games?
Seriously?
You had a big buffalo that was brought into the arena, and there was a woman riding it.
Yeah, and then they did the Last Supper with the whatever.
I saw.
People trying to be like Jesus.
Yeah, they're mocking God. They're mocking, but you see, most of the people in the world are not awake. You know, they've even hijacked the what it means to be woken up. You know, a lot of people that know you've woken up, and then all of a sudden they've sort of hijacked that. Anything that sort of may spread a good message, they hijack it. You know, anything that might have any way of educating people, the masses, they hijack it. You know,
just remember this: that it's all of them against all of us, the demonic powers,
and they've lost. And they've lost already. They've lost
us.
They've lost.
For me, I pull back away from that shit. I don't pay any attention to it because I know it's there, and I focus in on what I can handle, what I can change, gather tools and supplies, spend at least 1 hour a day modifying something that will improve your position.
Yeah. I spent,
well, you know, really quick here, you know, because the discussion on that, I do a lot of lifting in the gym and that, and there were two individuals that were supposedly Satanists. And we would have some discussions, sometimes a little stronger than others. But the last discussion I had with the one is that he finally realized he got away from it. He said, what I realized that these people were just wanting some sort of attention, and it just wasn't for me. And he has turned back to Jesus.
Amen.
And he kind of appreciated me challenging him all those times because, you know, someone thought, well, you know, I'm just going to be scary and everybody's going to stay away from me. Well, that doesn't fly with me. And I even showed up with the St. Michael shirt one time to the gym because I knew he was going to be there, and it wasn't lost upon him. Even he brought that up. But both of those individuals are no longer in that. I think they finally returned to a point. They understood that there's more to life than trying to have that little shock treatment, you know, and not saying because some of these people are you just don't want to be around them. That deviant out there, which is being allowed or maybe even encouraged. That's what I'm seeing on the media. It's being encouraged, and anybody who wants to do what is the right thing is being discouraged, and that's what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's the Antichrist. It's the Antichrist rising. It's like what we're seeing this Antichrist spirit more and more. I mean, if you look at movies, they're always using the name of Jesus in vain as a cuss word. They won't say Buddha. They won't say Muhammad. They won't say, but they always use the name of Jesus. And you know, Hollywood, as we know, if you split up the word Holly and wood, you know that witches use Hollywood wands. So basically, it's used, and it's all. If we look, what's the motive? Money. The love of money is the root of all evil. So, you know, we've got laws, supposed laws that is like, well, legally you can do that. Legally, you know, you've got lawyers that can always bypass stuff with ways. I don't know. I mean, I'm not a lawyer, but with money, you can literally get away with murder.
I'm with.
Well,
I'm
Hollywood
with.
thought they were going to win the election this year, and they're still trying to figure out how people said no. We're not listening to you. You know, you don't live in the real world.
Yeah.
You know, they're in shock. Well, how could you not vote for this person because, you know, this person. Well, those people are multi-millionaires and they don't live in my world. You know, they're not going to the store and trying to afford groceries. They're going to the pump trying to, you know, put fuel and keep a job and stuff like that. And I think that's starting to turn around. So they were in shock. I mean, they literally were in shock when they lost. You know, because the average person is saying, "Listen, I'm having a hard time surviving, and I could really care less what Beyonce or whoever, you know, is trying to tell me who I should vote for because you don't have the problems I have. You know, if eggs go up to $6 a dozen, it don't affect them. It affects me. You know, when I'm used to paying $2, I got to pay $6. That's, you know, there goes a big part of my budget. You know, so hopefully we're starting to see a change.
I spent the happiest times I've had and the most productive times I've had was in the 25 years I was in the army, and in that time frame, I didn't have time for politics. I didn't have time for news or anything like this, and I found that I was able to do what I want. You know, do the job I was going to do. Be productive in what I was doing and so on. No distractions. And I think it's too much emphasis. You know, people get hooked on news and this sort of stuff. Detach yourselves from it. It's just not good. Just get on with it. Be aware.
You are very unique though as well, Peavy, because you thrived in that environment because you're so with knowledge that you got your head stuck into the job at hand. But you not only got stuck into the job at hand, you thrived at getting more developed as a soldier and more information and more knowledge. But not everybody is like that.
Well, you got to. What I'm saying is, you've got
and there's a reason why you're like that as well, because you know you're probably going to help a lot of people in the future. Because with what's coming, what the gentleman was saying earlier about everything that is good is being made bad, is made to look bad.
What I'd say to people is, don't get caught up in this sort of.
I agree, PD.
Mindset of trying to
turn your back on it.
Yeah, don't get involved in this mindset of trying to constantly figure out, you know, who's pulling the string. There's nothing you can do about it. Let them get on with it. Focus on your own plans, because otherwise you just end up going round and round in circles. You won't get anything done. And before you know it, you sat there looking at the floor, 70 years old plus, and you know you just.
I try to tell my son that. I said, you know, does it affect you? Yeah. No, then move on.
Forget it. Move on. Yeah. Well said. Well said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I handle what I can handle, and if I can't do anything about it, I can't change it, which I can't.
Yeah.
Disregard. Turn your back on it.
Yeah.
But I can split up more little pieces of firewood for my paint can stove.
We just got.
I can filter water, all that. I can do these things to improve my position, and that's really the only control I have is what I do for my family.
So there's no pushback. There's no way we can push back. Then is that what are we basically saying? We're not going to. We can't do nothing against.
Obviously, there's something. You know, there's certain things we can do and what we can't do legally.
Well, we did push back. We voted in somebody else.
Yeah, so legally, you know, one of the main things you can do is vote. Tick the box, move on.
Bingo. Yeah, big time. You know, vote. You bet. Mm-hmm.
Do your voting thing, and thereafter, what can you do?
I think it's gone beyond that as well.
If it's a show that's giving the wrong message, you don't watch it. So you're not watching their commercials. Yeah. You know what I mean? If it's a person that doesn't have your values, you don't support them. You know, to sit there and start screaming into a camera like some of these people do in that. It just doesn't do anything.
I look
Yes,
at those
yes,
people
yes.
as if they
Being
are possessed.
constructive, being constructive.
The
Right.
people who
Very
scream
important.
on those TikTok videos that are shared out, I look at those people are possessed. They're
Right.
under the influence, and I stay
Yeah.
away
Some
from them.
influence. I don't know what it is,
Mhm.
but yeah, and like I said, and you know, you gotta have some self-respect. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I think we've
Dignity,
lost a
some
lot of
dignity,
that. Right. I mean, when
strength,
you look at
strength and dignity.
it depends where you're at. I mean,
The
when I go
British,
to the gym, it's a whole different environment. The people in the gym, everybody's trying to improve themselves, regardless of where they're at. Everybody's trying to improve themselves, and you'll find out that the majority of them are good people. Now, you walk into Target or Walmart, it's a whole different animal. You know, I mean,
but what we
some of
can
those
do,
people that, right?
a
It's
question was asked, what can we do for the pushback? It costs nothing. It's called prayer.
Amen. Amen.
Prayer.
Amen.
That's
Become a
what you
prayer
can do.
warrior.
But vote.
Become a
Right.
prayer
Vote
warrior.
and-
Pray about it. Pray about what we see. Pray about children. Pray about widows. You know, I mean, what a lot of people
Spend your
today they go,
money-
"Oh, you're
spend your money
religious.
where it helps you.
You're religious." So I'm not into religion. It's not about what is religion, but a lot of people don't even know what religion is. They're so caught
Well,
up with
don't get
stuff.
religion and faith. Religion and faith are two different things. All right.
You know,
Without
the
getting
Bible
vague,
says
but-
pure and undefiled faith is to visit widows and orphans in their hour of need. You know, that is, I mean, that's actually do it and not blowing the trumpet like some people like, oh, we did this, we did that, we did this. You know, when you do something, don't just go and blow the trumpet about it as well.
I mean, things have happened in my life that I truly believe there has been some divine guidance.
Amen.
All right. That's my belief. I don't force it upon anybody. I will discuss it with anybody who wants to talk about it. And I do believe in karma. Eventually,
Later, guys.
bad deeds are going to come back on you. So I don't worry about revenge because everybody who's done me poorly has had something poor happen to them somewhere down the line. You know. So, you don't need to be super religious, stuff like that. You just need to be a good person. And the way to be a good person is take care of yourself first. Because you can't take care of others if you don't take care of yourself.
Yeah.
I
You
agree
can't
with
be good
that.
to others unless you're good to yourself. You
Yeah.
know. And like I said,
keeping our heads when others around are losing theirs is very, is a good starting point.
Right, because panic kills.
Yeah.
When you panic, you
I
die.
agree with that too.
Yeah. Right, we've got to modify our plans. We've got no electric tonight. We're supposed to be having a dinner. Okay, break out the barbecue, Bob. Right, okay. We got no gas. Oh, what are we going to do now then? We've got to modify our plans.
Yeah, I got a generator. I got 3 solar generators. I've got a solar setup.
Hey, PV, our bridge has gone down. What are we going to do, PV? We've got no bridge.
Go in your sleeping bag, and we'll discuss it tomorrow morning.
Yeah. I'm going to stay in that damn cold water. That's for damn sure.
Bridge is out. Dinner's canceled. Sorry.
Yeah.
Or you take the boat. If the bridge goes over a river, you take the boat over to the other side.
Oh gosh, there's a group of city folk on the other side of the river, and they're after your supplies.
Yeah, they can stay there.
Now
the bridge is going to be out because I'll take it out.
I have a solution for that.
Yeah.
And I can't say on it because I don't want to get everybody demonetized or whatever, but I do have a solution to that too.
Yeah,
I think most of us have lots of solutions to situations that we just don't want to talk about in public.
Well, we can't, and nor should
we can't. That's true.
But I mean, where I live, I'm about as far away from every population center as you can be. If you were to draw a line from every population center, they would intersect pretty much on my property, and that was by design.
You got a good start. You got a good start. I'm in the middle of millions and millions of people, right in the center of London.
Have you guys ever watched the movie Threads?
No.
Okay, so it's an old movie.
Yeah,
I would, and especially for you over in Europe, you need to watch it. But it is a brutal
It's
and
British.
honest.
There's a British version with Day After.
Yeah,
Right, right.
it's right on the money too. So
Wow.
if you want to get an idea as to how bad a nuclear war can be, watch Threads, because I think they were
You know
pretty
what?
much on the button on that.
PV does it's got a good video on how to put on your NBC suit. So if you guys want to know about how to put on a suit, go and check out those videos. I'll certainly watch them a few times because I've got the whole suit, but I'm in the middle of London. You know, I imagine myself putting this suit on, going outside.
Forget it.
I can't tell how many times I put
just put on a garbage bag, and then when somebody comes nearby, just squat. You look like a bag of trash.
Yeah, that's a
Places
good
like
idea.
London, you and all the tarmac buildings and every other man-made objects in the whole of the area will be vaporized instantly.
Yeah, mash.
Yep.
Yeah,
Because you
even
don't have a
down
lot
to
of
the
front.
fact that even down to the fact the tarmac will boil and
Wow.
melt.
Wow. I
There's
know
a good.
God's going to get me out. God's going to get me out before that's going to happen. I know that.
I'd recommend a book that's recently come out. It's by someone called Annie Jacobson, and she spent Annie Jacobson. Yeah, it's called Nuclear War: A Scenario, and she spent many years researching this book and interviewing every expert and specialists from defense all the way through to politicians to scientists and so on. And the book depicts a scenario in which nuclear war starts. It doesn't matter about the scenario because she referred into this book in 1960. There was a 2-week study group that was put on. Duck and cover yet. And in this 2-week study group, a number of scientists, there was lots of them, can't remember the numbers, spent 2 weeks going through every perceivable scenario that a nuclear war could start. And in every one of those scenarios, it ended the same. And this book details minute by minute, second by second, the sequence of events which will unfold in a nuclear war situation. And in this particular scenario, it all starts with North Korea firing a bolt out the blue attack, one nuclear ICBM that targets Washington DC, and it goes through the sequence of events that would happen, and the time frame and time window that the president has got in order to decide launch or not launch, and the launch window is literally 6 minutes, and it's a policy that's been ongoing. It's called launch on warning. That's it. He's presented with a number of scenarios, but he's got 6 minutes to decide to launch.
You can imagine how nervous us Americans were during these last 4 years.
Yeah. Well,
because of who we had supposedly in charge.
Funnily enough, so the launching situation, there's two constellations of satellites in orbit at the moment. There's a Russian set, I think it's called, I can't remember what it's called, but the American version is called SBIRS, SBIRS, and it constantly monitors ICBM launches, because ICBM launches have a unique signature on launch, because it's got 3 phases on launch: the launch phase, the mid-flight phase, and the terminal phase. Anyway, the launch phase is something like 5 minutes, and it can automatically detect and pinpoint exactly where that launch is. What's supposed to happen is, if anyone does a test fire, one of the 9 nuclear nations does a test fire of the ICBMs, they're supposed to tell the other 8 nations that they're about to do it, so that it's not identified as a spurious launch, and therefore the sequence of events kicks in. So the other week, Russia gave America 30 minutes notice that they were going to launch an ICBM.
Wow.
And they launched the ICBM towards, it was in Ukraine, but it had a non-nuclear warhead. I found out recently that behind the scenes, the chaos that was going on behind the scenes was unbelievable, because this sequence of events was put in motion, and they only got 30 minutes notice.
Wow.
So we are literally on a knife edge. You know, as Trump said a couple of months ago, you know, someone asked him what's the biggest threat that we face at the moment. He said nuclear war, which indicates how well informed and up to speed he is still. If you was to ask Biden that question, you would have got a completely different answer, you know. And we are literally walking on a constant knife edge at the moment. It takes him one mistake. And this book depicts, it's a very good book, so I'll finally recommend it. It's Nuclear War, A Scenario, Annie Jacobson. So, you know, well worth a read.
Yeah, that's why I got a full nuclear and biological suit, the whole deal.
Well,
the boots, the gloves, the suit, the full face mask, the filters.
This takes well, that particular book takes the clock gets ticking from zero, all the sequence of events, all the way through to plus 24,000 years after, for the aftermath situation. But anyone out there who's thinking of getting any sort of PPE, CBRN PPE, then, you know, I've done a video on this as well. I mean, it's one of my 17,000 views and so on. But what I say to people is, don't buy army surplus equipment, because it's surplus for a reason. There's rubber components in this gear. The rubber is probably starting to diminish and perish. The shelf life has probably come to an end, or is about to come to an end. So you're buying literally off the shelf. You're buying literally surplus equipment which has come to the end of its lifespan.
Wow.
Yes, it's better than nothing, because you know, when it comes down to it, you've got something. But it's just the suit may be okay, you know, because the active carbon in suits is good, but you've got to have enough equipment to sustain you. So at least 3 sets of gear.
I think you should do a video on that, PV, and tell us, like, instead of getting the rubber boots that are so heavy, they like weigh a ton. And then you said to me, "Oh, you could have just got some wellies." Yeah,
well, the thing is, as well as getting all the gear, you've got to know A, how to use it. B, you've got to have detection equipment as well, so you can detect the threats. C, you've got to have, you know, something like a radiation monitor, so you get accumulated dose rates and all this sort of stuff. But also, most importantly, you've got to have decontamination equipment. And you hardly ever see any videos on people talking about decontamination equipment. Yeah. Because there is a specific sequence and drills you do to just take your respirator off. And it's
gentlemen, I had a blast. I have to go.
Okay, no problem, mate.
Very informative, and everybody have a great weekend.
Have a good one.
Take care, sir.
Yep.
Catch you later, mate.
I just gotta remember how I get out of here.
So yeah, you know, the nuclear scenario is, you know, just one of the threats we face, and it's one of the you know, the flash and the bang is pretty quick on it as well. So wow. You know, but modifying your preps and modifying your drills, etc., for any sort of scenario, I think you've really, when it comes down to it, you've got to have, you know, key decisive skills. You've got to be able to weigh up the odds quickly, be decisive, be able to evaluate information streams coming in, so you know what's happening and what course of action to take. And, you know, like I said before, you know, it even may come down to the scenario where you've got to start to, you know, pick 3 items in your bug out bag that you will take. The rest is not going. Down to that sort of mentality.
What about things like drills?
Drills?
Like for us to have like, you know, if we, for example, we've got a family or we got a group, is it a good idea to say, right, once every so often we're going to have a drill?
Oh yeah. So all part of anyone's preparedness regime should be training. Yeah. Constant training. Well, I mean, you know, train to a sufficient level and frequency that you are comfortable with doing it to a sort of automatic state. But your group and your family or whatever as well, people should be doing this. reading about it, discussing it. It shouldn't be strange territory when you come up to this sort of your perceived event that you're preparing for. That's what I'm saying. It should be, people should know what to expect, at least the bare minimum.
Yeah.
They should know where to go and get their stuff.
Yeah.
Even if it's in a, the worst case scenario is the fact that no one in your family knows how to use it apart from you. You tell them. that's a bad scenario, but everybody should know how to use it. They should be efficient in using it, know where it is, and etc. Even down to the generator being serviced and stuff like that.
And like you said, also in like training each other to know each other's sort of specialities as well.
Yeah. So cross pollination of skills. So if one of you goes away and does a course, or you get a qualification in something, or you're particularly up to speed in a manual, or your hobby specializes in something, like one of you might be an amateur radio license holder, then you at least tell the rest of the group how to basically operate the equipment without breaking it or making it worse. So, that sort of mentality, and that will give you a sort of a framework of robustness, and it will give you the ability to, at short notice, quickly evaluate a situation that you haven't considered before, a bolt out of the blue scenario, and quickly discuss it and move and act on it, really.
Yeah, training, very important. You often hear soldiers say things like, oh, yeah, we got into a situation and the training just kicked in.
Yeah, that's yeah. I've heard of that.
I'm just saying, if people are sort of, okay, I don't know nothing about that sort of subject, but if people are sort of, training with their sort of bug out bag gear and their sort of their preps, and they've been sort of practicing, so if anything does happen, they're kind of prepared.
Yeah, be fluid.
These days, with all the fear and stuff going on, nuclear and all that, I'm more concerned that be a biological issue, because it's easier to disperse. Nobody will know about it ahead of time, and by the time anybody figures it out, it's too late.
Well, it's a mixture. We're getting a mixture of conventional, modern warfare. We're getting so many different. It's all sorts of stuff. The Bible talks about pestilence, disease, famine, wars, rumors of wars. It's not just like conventional war. It's psychological, mind games, weather.
Almost seems like they're trying to push the Bible agenda and say, see, look, just like the Bible said, here comes pestilence, and they release something. It's like they're trying to make it happen man-made.
And then they're going to blame the Christians and say it's their fault. Therefore, let's get rid of them. Let's kill them all.
Yeah. Well, we never know what's around the corner. I'll give you an example of what states we're in at the moment in the world, although people may know, but right. So I regularly look at a weekly intelligence report, which is a cyber report.
Wow.
On the latest key threats that happen. I've just pulled up to here. So this one was from last week. Right. So this is a sort of level when I talk about, we're already in World War III, etc. Right. The Italian football club, Bologna FC, had a ransomware attack.
Wow.
Right. International gaming technology. And as I'm listing these off, think about the implications, etc., and what other aspects can be targeted. So international gaming technology, a global gaming technology provider experienced a cyber attack. There's obviously more detail to this, but I'll give you the headings. The Great Plains Regional Medical Center in Oklahoma suffered a ransomware attack. And obviously, comprising of data over 130,000 individuals. The breach involved personal and medical information, social security numbers, etc., etc. So the implications, pay it or not pay it, are massive. Wirral University Teaching Hospital NHS Trust in the UK faced a cyber attack that led to IT systems outage, forcing staff to use manual processes and causing delays in patient services. The city of Hoboken, New Jersey, was forced to close its offices temporarily following a ransomware attack. Uganda's central bank, so this isn't just West focused, Uganda's central bank experienced a cyber attack resulting in the unauthorized transfer of approximately 62 billion Ugandan shillings.
Wow.
Which is equates
Whoa.
to around $16.8 million. And
That's a lot of money.
yeah, whilst the state-owned newspaper New Vision reported that the attack was carried out by a Southeast Asian hacking group identified as Waste, that's the name of the hacking group, the stolen funds were reportedly directed to accounts in Japan. Another one, supply chain. We all know about how tenuous the supply chain is. Supply chain software provider Blue Yonder was hit by a ransomware attack, disrupting the services for clients like Starbucks and grocery chains such as McDonald's, Sainsbury's, and Morrison's. That was just last week. Right, so the week before, these are just key points. There's many hundreds of these. A threat actor identified as Niers, that's the name of him, has claimed responsibility for a cyber attack on a French hospital that resulted in the exposure of sensitive health records of 750,000 patients. AI training software firm called iLearn Engines has experienced a cyber attack that resulted in the theft of $250,000. London-based financial services company called Finastra suffered a cyber attack that resulted in the theft of 400 gigs of data from an internally hosted secure file transfer platform used to send files to customers. The stolen data was offered for sale on a criminal forum, which allegedly contained sensitive information from the company's operations within its financial services clients.
Crazy.
I'll just read a couple more out. US space tech company Maxar Space Systems was a victim of a data breach. The Mexican government platform gob.mx has been hit by a ransomware attack by the group Ransom Hub, resulting in the theft of 313 gigs of data, including government contracts, insurance, financial information, etc., etc. The last one, two more out. The Library of Congress, part of the US Capitol complex and home of the world's largest media collection, was hacked by a foreign adversary, exposing email communications between library staff and congressional offices from January to September 2024. And the last one I'll read out. Giant American gambling and lottery company, International Gaming Technology, IGT, has confirmed a cyber attack that resulted in significant disruptions to portions of its internal IT systems, etc., forcing some systems to go offline and affecting its ability to provide services to customers worldwide. So what I'm getting at basically is, not taking your eye off the ball. It's just one information stream, to indicate to you potential seriousness of various ongoing events and stuff. But we are worldwide in a war for information, basically. So
it's crazy how they can take all the info and then say, yeah, I'll try and sell it somewhere else as well. All these names, all these details.
Well, yeah, it's I mean, there's no such thing as a virus anymore, really. It's ransomware attacks, worms, and all this sort of stuff. Denial of service attacks and this sort of thing. So it's constantly ongoing. What's the next one going to be? How heavy is it going to impact? It's going to be loss of services.
Good to see you, man.
Etc., etc. So
taking down the electricity grid.
Yeah, the implications are, the long-awaited operation for your hip, for instance, is not going to happen. You're going to have to wait another 2 or 3 years. The electricity gets cut off. Transport services are disrupted. And I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of this hybrid type of warfare, where it's not just cyber attacks. It's not physical confrontations on a battlefield. It's disruptive actions and behavior by the embedded, quote unquote, implanted people that have suddenly appeared in the countries of interest. Low level terror or disruption attacks and this sort of thing. So people have got to be very aware, be prepared to modify and adapt at short notice, because these types of things are going to result ultimately in the bolt out of the blue scenario. You know, the scenario that people aren't really preparing for, because you can't think of all this sort of these actions.
Yeah. Well, you might put back saying, right, I need some cash to have at home. I'll put it back, and then you might think, right, I'm going to quickly go down and get some cash. And that day there was an attack, and the bank got shut down somehow. The machine was been cut off, and now you can't get to your cash.
Play it sensibly. Yeah, exactly. Like paying for cash, having some cash with you at all times. I always keep £40 worth of cash in between my phone and my phone holder, in the case, just in case. That's me, ultimate emergency cash when I'm out and about. But I, pay for card as well. When people get paid, prioritize what you're getting paid for. Pay the essentials first.
Exactly, yeah.
Then what with what you're left with, 30 to 50% of what you're left with, save, and whatever you're left with after that is, money to do what you like with. And in that way, you can your savings will gradually increase as opposed to decline or stagnate. But there's various methods. I mean, I think a good way of gathering information is to gather a lot of information in a short space of time is to listen to podcasts. That's quite a good way of doing it. I mean, reading books is okay because you can consume and understand what's in the book. But a book on average takes, if you add it up, 10 hours to read a book. And it's one subject on, so, and, you can do all these sorts of things without concerning yourselves out there with constantly doom scrolling and watching news and pondering over life and where it's going. Focus on make an aim and go for it. But
yeah, don't let them steal our joy. Remember to keep some joy, the inner joy.
Yeah. Get a hobby. I've got to
do what you like doing. Get out there, test your gear.
Yep.
Practice.
Prepping is part of your hobby, then the possibilities are endless. There's so many strands to it. I'm gonna 5 minutes. I've got to shoot off. So
yeah, as usual.
Yeah, it's a great subject. Prepping is a great subject. I mean, you hear people saying, "Oh, I've got a spare strap." Let's, talking about bug out bags again, and like how to modify your strap on the go. How to modify your shoelaces, or how to modify your belt if your belt breaks, or all these little tweaks. It's like building a shelter. There's no actual blueprint. You could just throw some, literally.
Well, what I'd say is, I look at things on 3 different levels when it comes to sort of training and personal and skills. You've got your personal skills. So if you're part of a group, no one's interested in your, personal skills. That you should have them squared away and not bother anyone with your personal skills. They should be on the ball. So you should be able to wash yourself, clean yourself, put your shelter up, sleep, eat, and all that sort of stuff.
Yes.
Next level up is sort of teamwork skills. So collective training, if you like. So you're amongst the group and you collectively train. So if it's like 4 or 5 of you, for instance, or your family group, or there might even just be 2 of you, you train as a group and you get those skills as a group done. But yeah, I thought I was going to say now, but I think, yeah, right. So one of the reasons why I suggested this topic to Shadow is I've been in many scenarios in the army where you've deployed somewhere, whether it be operationally or on an exercise, and things have changed so quick. You've re-rolled, or you're going to do another task that you weren't even deployed for, and you've got to modify everything from what you're carrying, what you're eating, mode of transport, etc., etc.
You were talking about the three stages.
Yeah. So,
Sorry.
personal training, group training. The main two people should consider themselves really. The third one is really sort of a higher level military thing, which I suppose you could relate it to a community, I suppose. But yeah, so get yourself squared away first. Get your personal skills done, your personal training aspects. And then when you move into sort of a group training thing, you can start cross-training, cross-pollinating skills with each other. So you get to know a bit about someone else's and all this sort of stuff. Yeah, I think that's quite essential, actually. But yeah, like saying, you deploy and you go there for one particular reason, and you find out actually you're not going to be there for 3 months. You're going to be there for 12 months because there's no one else to replace you. And you're doing such a good job, you're so essential now that we want you to stay. So you're there for 12 months. So you've got to replan everything from your mindset, the fact that you're staying there for an extra 9 months, to the gear that you're taking. Is it going to stand up for that duration? All the way down to how you're going to train, how you're going to keep yourself amused, what you can do in your spare time, and all this sort of stuff. Or you just tab 34 miles across the middle of the rolling countryside, expecting to jump on an aircraft, and when you get there isn't an aircraft.
Oops.
Your new transport is a helicopter another 13 miles the other way. So that sort of mentality of thinking on your feet, adjusting and adapting, basically. And like I said,
the first one, I love the first one. That the person that being fit as well is so important. Keep up with the training. Yeah. I mean, I've been struggling with my smoking, and you've been helping me. And you keep this point right here is more. We talk about clothing being the first line of defense, but it's if you can't carry yourself. I mean. You said something earlier as well about being in a coma, and is your clothing going to see you through the night if you do fall into a coma? It's
passive survival, I call it, which is the ability for you to stay alive if you're knocked out, for instance. So that comes down to the clothing you're wearing. The clothing should be able to support your life system, even if you're just lying in snow, for instance, or if you've crashed out in the desert or whatever. But when it comes to physical fitness, I think the bare minimum should be the ability to self-rescue when no one else is around. So being able to pull yourself out of a river, being able to pull yourself up out of danger, pull yourself out of a car wreck or whatever it is. The basic minimum. And it can extend from there into, have you got the ability to walk on foot to safety? And then it goes on from there to things like, you're fit for a reason. Hey, Sarah, you get fit for a reason, and that's to prevent or reduce injury. So if you're moving at night, for instance, you overstretch and step onto something or a rock, or you step into a hole, then you're not going to be, you're going to be more stable on your feet. You're going to be able to adjust to that overstep or understep or whatever is a lot easier and so on.
Be able to recover.
Yeah. The reason why so much emphasis in the military is put on fitness. And people look into why, and they'll realize how important it is. So, but that's like you say, it's one of the base, the bottom pillars of preparedness, if you like. Get your body in check first. But Right, so I'm going to tag team CR. I'm going to.
All right.
Thanks
He's
very
passing the
much,
baton to
PV.
me, everyone.
Very,
He's
very
passing the
good
baton. Okay,
information
I'm
as
grabbing the
usual.
baton. Okay, gotta keep running for him. Okay.
We're all leaving now because nobody's going to get a word in edgewise. Just kidding.
One out, one in, all that sort of stuff.
Thanks
Right.
for all the useful information as usual, PV.
Well, just message me if you chat. So, right, catch you all
Take
later.
care,
folks.
PV.
Right, God bless. Take care.
See you later. See you later, Magic.
Take care, PV.
Shadow.
Yep.
Later.
Hey, CR.
Hide. Somewhere.
Hey,
Hi,
CR,
Shadow.
I remember one time, one winter, CR, you fell off your
I
bike.
remember I already ate beforehand, Mark. So
You fell off your bike, CR.
yeah.
And
I was
you cut-
proactive. I was proactive.
and you cut your hand.
Oh, look at this! We got the all-star in the group here. Dang. I'll just let this guy take over. I'll shut up.
Can y'all hear me? Is it okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right. You take over. I'll just listen.
Oh, I'll take over. No, CR, you take over because I talk about.
No. I talk too much. You're older than I am. I'll let you go first.
Thanks, CR. Let me drink out of my flamingo cup. Let me drink out of my flamingo cup.
Okay.
Anyways, yeah.
Coffee, so.
How you guys doing? How y'all been?
We've been here for 2.5 hours. Where you been?
I just got the notification like when I showed up.
Oh, come on, man. You know it starts at the same time every
All right,
Saturday.
We'll give you 15 minutes to catch up, and then we're done.
Oh, cool. That works. That works.
We'll give you the cliff notes.
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't done that since high school. So okay, here's the thing. Okay. We as a community have to prep for our time period. And it's the exact same thing with any book or whatever that you are reading. They were handling their issues and everything. Even Morse Kohansky, all that stuff. They wrote the books to handle their time period of when they were at their prime, when they were doing whatever they were doing. And it's the exact same thing that we have to do now. It is 2024. It is not 1980s. It is not the 1960s. It is not, it's not the 1920s anymore. But we can learn from the past, but we have to prep for the future. Yeah, it's cool and everything that. Yes, ma'am. Sorry, it's my cats. It's cool to show your buddies and everything. Oh, look at me. I can rub two sticks together to make an ember to blow into flame in a perfect world. Right? That's cool. That's something from now. But if in a real situation you're hungry or you're hurting or like what veteran just said before he if you wreck a car or you're in the middle of winter and you fall out of a boat in freezing cold water, you're not going to have the ability to rub two sticks together or strike your ferrocerium rod to create a fire. You need instant flames.
Yes, and that's why you would carry matches, stormproof matches, lighters, a torch, something like that, right? To give you that edge in that situation, because time, energy is not on your side in that situation. That's the point. That's why, like, even the bushcrafters out there, even Dave Canterbury, Cody Lundeen would probably say, there's a reason why you have those things, They practice the primitive stuff, the ferrocerium rod, to just make sure they know it, right? Just in case.
Yeah.
But they don't heavily rely on. They'll use the lighter first, right? So nothing wrong with using a lighter right away.
Yeah.
Especially if it's like 50 below out and you're cold and you got to get this fire started because you need this heat. Yeah, I'm not gonna say, oh no, you're doing it wrong because you're not using a ferrocerium rod or rubbing two stick friction fire. No, right? Because it's survival at that time.
Like, oh, go get the right wood. You got to go and get the right wood. You have to go get a softwood. You got to go get a hardwood. You got to, make sure you have the right tensile strength in your shoelace to make a bow drill. You got, when you're in a rush, you don't think about that stuff.
When your hands are cold?
Yeah. And it's the same thing as prepping for a nuclear fallout or whatever. 90% of us, it doesn't matter where you're at. If you're in the middle of a city, at least a major city, guess what? They're going to hit a major city. And your preps and everything is not going to save you. It's not. Look at Hiroshima. You're going to be a shadow on the wall. No offense, Shadow. But you have to make people understand reality.
Yeah, it's a choice. It's a big choice. It's also a choice because what we're talking about here is very deep at the moment as well. I've even asked myself this question: am I not a good person because I'm in the city? Am I here because there's a nuclear bomb aimed at a city and I'm in the city? And am I totally, it's a choice. I can either just leave or stay.
But that's the thing. Most people can't.
What's keeping me here? What's keeping me from going? I know,
Right.
but you said, why can't we? Okay, the question is, why do we say I can't? Is it because I physically can't walk away from my material stuff and just go out into the, countryside and not have enough faith to say, well, God's going to supply my needs the same way He supplied my needs in the city? Is it me supplying my needs? Is it me making it happen? Is it, that's what I'm saying. The question is, the people in the countryside, are they there because they're better people? I mean,
it's good to have religion. It's good to have faith, but you are the one that has to do the decision. It's not God. It's not whatever. It is you. And most people are too afraid to actually act on their ideas. They're too afraid.
You said earlier, but you can't. People can't.
Yeah, money. I mean, most people can't, sell their house, move out, especially in America. Just like here in Texas, okay? 1 acre out here in Texas where I live that has no building restrictions, that has no HOAs or anything. You're looking about $250,000 just for the land. And I'm not talking about a house. I'm not talking about getting electricity put on it. I'm not talking about running water to that house.
It's just dirt and rocks and trees. Yep.
Right. But it is the outer forces that put that price tag on that land. Yeah, you can go out to West Texas and buy 40 acres for $10,000, but the thing is you're not getting water out there. You're not getting electricity out there. It is scrub land for a reason. And most people can't do that. Most people do not have enough money or enough resources. Most people can barely survive in America on their retirement, let alone a normal 40-hour paycheck. It is the outside forces that hurts most people, and that's what dooms most people, is because of the price tag of everything.
You said something. You said something earlier that was interesting. You said that we're not back in the 60s or the 80s. We're now in 2024. But
right.
I think we have to
2025.
use. I think we have to use skills from the past as well as from now.
Well, we have to learn from the past
well, because
to
many
help
people
us in the future.
past worked. You said about it's true. The resources, but before many people worked collectively together to get by. You know, like
Right.
for example, if someone in the town there's a newlywed, the whole town came together and built a house for that newlywed. You know, but people back in that time they had to work hard. You know, people in Greece, for example, the whole village would go fishing. You hear stories of tribes they
Yeah.
go out fishing together. You know,
Amish
they
do
haven't
that
got
right now
money,
still.
but they've organised
Yeah.
themselves. So you know, how do we modify the way we live? You know, as a community, how do we say, right? Well, we're fed up with this system. You guys always confusing everything. We're going to set up our own thing in the wilderness. So what I'm
You
saying,
can't.
as an idea, like to get past the fact that we ain't got money, or some people may not have the resources or the money, but if we got a lot of people that have got skills, you can. But yes, you're right. I mean, someone's going to come along and say, "Well, that's our land. That's not your land." This is the
Right.
problem.
I mean,
The
look at
land's been grabbed.
okay.
These families have grabbed all the land before any of us have even got to start. They say, "Oh, it's all equal opportunities. It's democracy. You can vote. You can, you know, we've got traffic lights. We've got, you know, everything's all organised. You know, you've got opportunity. But how do you compete? We can't compete with
Look,
people that own the land, everything.
let's go to a more simpler idea. Okay, the like in Europe. Okay, what just no longer than what 10 years ago, the big gypsy uproar where all these gypsies were just parking RVs and everything on any land and living out of their RVs and stuff outside of major cities, and the European police and everything would kick them off their land and kick them off the land, and they were saying, well, nobody's using this land. It's the same thing with the squatters and stuff like that. Like what in New Zealand, you have to live in a unpopulated area for like 10 years before you can go and say, I've been on this property for X amount of years without being kicked off, like to claim that land.
We're going to have to try and do something.
Yeah, you cannot do it with today's government ideas. There is nothing free in this world.
What's going to happen when they start saying everyone needs the mark of the beast? Right, you need this chip in your hand, and without it, you can't buy or sell. You can't, you know. For example, in the UK, you can't get on a bus without an Oyster card. You need this electronic card, and you just go like that, and you get on the bus. The same with the trains. So basically, they're not going to force you to have it, but if you need to get on the bus or the train, you need to have it. Otherwise, you won't get on the train.
Well, it's the same. It's the same thing here in America with food stamps. Every single person in America, well, I mean, most likely every single person, I want to say about 70% of the population has what's called food stamps, which is a government aid in America that gives you like $125 a month to spend on food. And it's only government issued certain foods that you can buy with your money every month. And it's the exact same thing. People line up every day for this food stamp card. If they promise something with quote unquote the mark of the beast or whatever, we already have that. We already have those things that are already considered a mark of the beast.
What I was getting to is the fact that at some point in the future, we're going to find loads of people that we can see it in America now. There's loads of people, not just America, even here in London. There's so much homelessness, so many homeless people that are with tents. So eventually, what I'm saying, I see a future where there's going to be people that have literally running into the wilderness and looking for different alternative ideas, because
the thing is at least like over in Europe and everything, I see. Oh, sorry. I see what is it Scotland? Is it Scotland or Ireland that the homeless and everything, they have to be homeless for X amount of like months or years. Then they get put on a list and they still get free housing. They get free apartments and everything. And they still will not get a job. They still will not work. They get free government housing and aid. And they're still outside begging the common folk for money every day. And it's the same thing out here. Why stop what you're doing if people still hand out? It's a disease just like everything else. It's an addiction just like everything else. I do security in downtown San Antonio, okay? There's a guy there that is pretty much like the homeless. He's kind of like the homeless godfather. This guy makes like almost $400 a day just sitting out in a wheelchair with a sign. He doesn't bother anybody or whatever. He just holds a sign and people give him money every day and he spends that money to buy everybody else brand new meals and all this stuff.
Wow.
And they just sit there. They just sit there in front of the Alamo, a historic, a historic monument that people from all over the world come and see. And people out of the righteousness of their heart give to these people. And why quit that? Why go get a 40-hour job when you can make $20 or $30 every 2 hours? It's the same thing that's going to happen in end times. It's the same thing. These people are still going to use that same mindset and everything to get by. And that's why I say, don't worry about groups. Don't worry about other people that you don't know, because nobody truly knows the darkness in a human heart. The only reason why humans act humane is because of the laws that are in effect. You don't see people going out and killing. You don't see a husband going out and killing his wife's boyfriend because she cheated on him, or wife killing the husband's girlfriend because they know they're going to jail. But in a world of anarchy, a world that has no laws, they would take a different aspect of everything. And I'm not afraid to say this stuff on my channel. And I'm trying to beat around the bush and try to show a more vivid picture of everything. And humans, when push comes to shove, there is a quote, and I forgot who said it, but people are only 3 meals away from anarchy. And it's the truth. When people are starving, you see the worst in mankind. And you'll see it left and right. There is no perfect plan to any prep. There is no perfect plan to any situation. Yes, for the situation that this person on I Shouldn't Be Alive worked for them, but at what cost did it work for them? Will that same plan work for you in the same situation? You may have almost the exact same situation, but there's different aspects to everything. We all walk the same road, but we all walk it differently.
Exactly.
And one way does not work for Shadow, does not work for you, does not work for any of us on here, we all will handle a situation differently.
Well, that's why you
Because
gotta.
go ahead, Seal.
I was gonna say that's why you have to adapt the information that you're receiving, or the knowledge, the skills to the situation at hand.
Yeah,
Because it could be you're on the east side. Oh, well, I live on the west side.
mhm.
You could be even in the same town, same city, and it could just be slightly different.
I live in Texas. CR lives in Canada. 2 different biomes, 2 exact like maximizations of 2 different worlds. Like
Exactly. I mean, like,
I'm in,
remember the Texas freeze, and I was saying a couple of things you were saying to me on your live stream that, oh, that stuff's not available down here. CR,
yeah,
they don't sell it down here. I was just like,
yeah,
oh yeah, I gotta, I'm so used to seeing
yeah.
what I see here that I'm like, oh yeah,
We
they
don't
sell
have,
wool sweaters.
yeah, we have the only thing that is wool that we get is alpaca or llama, wool. And it's not the same thing as, sheep wool. It gets wet. Yeah, it may hold some, but the thing is drying out alpaca wool is longer and harder to dry out than it is, sheep wool or what is that high class wool that everybody starts with an M?
Cashmere.
Merino.
No,
Merino.
it's big in Europe. I know that.
Well, anyway, yeah.
It's like Manuel kind of wool, or it's a specific kind of wool that's like high end, and it's like the Lamborghini of wools because of how it's processed and everything.
Yeah. This reminds me when people say, "Oh, just go get a wool blanket or something."
Yeah,
you actually have to have access to that.
right. And
People forget
you try to
actually have to have access to this gear.
yeah.
If it's not available in your area or
No.
whatever, right?
And if it ever was available, and if you go to here in America, our army surplus and all this stuff is not like Europe's army
Or here in Canada.
surplus. Yeah,
Here in Canada, it's just like the thrift stores, right?
Yeah,
It's different too.
yeah. I mean, I can't go to an army. I can't go to an Army Navy surplus here in America and find Swiss medical wool blankets from World War II or whatever. They don't stock that stuff because it's not a seller. It will sit and rot away before anybody buys it. But you can go to London and pick up 20 of them for what, 15 pounds? Like 3 pounds a piece or something like that. You can buy it online, but
I mean, like during the Texas freeze, like that's like saying, "Oh, go buy some ice cleats." People down there be like, "What are ice cleats?"
Yeah, what is that? Or
around here, I'd be able to go to the store right now and grab one. But it's wintertime here.
We don't even have chains to go around our tires. Like,
well, winter tires.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, try to find winter tires down here. You're going to be paying like $600 a tire for that, and it's only good during winter.
Because the people that actually had the clothing down there were probably people that go skiing in the mountains or brought it with them when they moved in, right? Because they go skiing in the mountains, they go traveling and whatever.
I mean, if you go to North Texas, you will find that stuff in North Texas because North Texas is a different biome than South Texas. Mm-hmm. Texas has 4 different biomes in just its state alone, wherever you're at. Like North Texas, you're you're going up north, it actually sees snow and ice and stuff like that. They have pine trees. Out here, it's all desert, and mud and bedrock, and because it was a part of the sea, But
Yeah. That's why I always consider when people say, "Oh, get a wool blanket." Well, okay, if you can't get a wool, then try to get at least a synthetic one to start with, right? So we're at least in the meantime.
yeah, you get heavy duty fleece, what we call Mexican, the Mexican fleece blankets, the one that has like a tiger or a wolf or something like that on it.
Yeah.
That
It has some sort of decoration on it.
yeah. Or you go and actually get Mexican blankets from the border of Texas and Mexico that is actually made with some kind of wool. But the thing is, it's only a throw blanket, so it only covers around the top of your body and maybe around your shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, it's like also the gray man idea. If you think you're going to be walking around in this day of age where everybody's wearing Supreme or, Lizzo's new brand of clothing and stuff like that, and you're walking around in basic Levi jeans and a basic button-up shirt in a crowded area, you're the one that's sticking out. Even in my security and everything, we look for your type of people because you're the one that sticks out like a sore thumb.
Yeah.
If you walk in, go ahead.
Well, because gray men shouldn't be considered by quote unquote gray color, but what's contrasting or different compared to everything else.
Right.
Around.
Well, it's supposed to blend in.
Yeah, exactly. If everyone's wearing bright clothing, well, you need to wear bright clothing. If you start wearing, pink and everyone's wearing black, well, you're gonna stand out.
Yeah, if you're, if you got to go through a college campus or something like that to get to your destination because you're bugging out, you better throw on some kind of anime girl, shirt and some baggy pants and look like a 60-year-old that's trying to be hip.
Yeah, so, if you think about it, right, maybe you have a camel shirt and some, Pokemon shirt with you, and you can be like, okay, whatever works in that situation, right?
Yeah, because nowadays, they don't care that you're 60 years old wearing an anime shirt. People do not judge you for that, but they will judge you for wearing, a tactical, they'll judge you for wearing tactical BDUs, and because of the way the fear is in America now, they think you're going to be the quote-unquote shooter or whatever.
Yeah.
Because, you're dressed with that persona. And that's what we have to look at as security. We're going to come up and talk to you. Hey, why are you dressed like this? Where are you going? You don't look like you need to be here.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying about 50-year-old mental tactics. Hold on. Like, actually wearing Prada, Prada and an expensive dress, and I mean, you won't stand out anymore because of the way the mindset is in the world. You really won't. The other day, I had a transgender female walk into the men's bathroom and scare all the men out of the bathroom because she still had men genitalia. So she didn't go into the female bathroom. She went into the men's bathroom to take care of her business. But she freaked everybody out because she went in there until she openly said that she was a male. Like, if you walked around, I mean, there's guys every day here in there's the Scottish Legion here in San Antonio, and they wear they wear their kilts and everything all day long. Like it's in today's standards and stuff like that. I've seen men with full-grown beards bigger than mine walking into females' bathrooms because they identify as a female. That's what I'm saying as today's mindset. Nobody is going to question you being out of the box. It's the way the world is now with today's generations. Today's generations today rule internet, rule social media, rule the mindset of people.
Yes, their presence is out there.
Yes, it's not small towns thinking in their specific ways anymore. And you have to look at that. You have to realize if you're going to Seattle, you're going to see more anarchy in Seattle than you will in a small town of Texas. But
if I was going to Seattle, I'd make sure I bring an umbrella. Just to just to blend in, right? Because that area is known for rain, right? If I brought an umbrella, I would be like, oh, he's not even a local.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, I mean,
if I go down to Texas, I'll be like, okay, maybe I'll wear a nice cowboy hat to blend in or something. Right?
Actually, they don't do that anymore.
Oh, okay, okay. I know that was stereotypical, but you know what I mean, though.
Well, I mean, 20 years ago, I mean, just as little as 10 years ago, you could wear a cowboy hat in certain areas, but not in the major city, In the major city, they don't, you could get away with wearing a belt buckle and cowboy boots, but the cowboy hat, even I get looked at when I wear my cowboy hat still. Like,
and you're a local.
Right. It's because I'm from Comal County, and if I say I'm from Comal County, then they're like, oh, okay, that's understandable. You're a redneck. That's how they see it.
Yeah, but if you can say anything like that, if I went down there and can say anything, it'd be like, you're not from around here, are you?
Right.
They'll instantly question you about that.
Yeah.
Just wear a cowboy hat and a pink shirt. You'll be fine.
Right. I mean, you can do that. I mean, look at all the flamboyant Mexican mariachis and stuff like that. You could fill in with that. Like it.
So if I went down to Hawaii, a Hawaiian shirt would be like a way to blend in, maybe.
Yeah, you need like a New York Knicks T-shirt to wear down in Hawaii. You'd blend right in.
I mean, if you wanna hang out with the tribal Hawaiians, yeah. I mean, a lot of them wear Hawaiian shirts, but not like the stereotypical Hawaiian shirts.
I see. So it's like if I went down to like Dallas and I wore like a Dallas Cowboys jersey.
Yeah, you would fit right in. Yeah.
Yeah, because no one would question you. Oh yeah, you're right. Because it's
correct.
Just like if when visiting teams arrive, they stand out. People are wearing jerseys from outside the town.
Yeah.
Let's say whatever, right?
But the thing is if you put that persona, you're going to get those people that will strike up a conversation with you. So you're going to have to know how to talk back with them.
Yeah.
It's the same. It's like espionage.
Yeah, he's just wearing it.
Yeah. It's like it's kind of a form of like espionage, like trying to be a spy.
So yeah, if you do wear something, you gotta fit the part and be able to talk your way in it too, with it too.
Mm-hmm.
Not just wear it, right? I guess so. Gray man or gray person or gray women, it's not just about wearing certain things. Be able to talk your way into the conversations if someone asks, right?
Yeah. But go ahead. What were you going to say, brother?
I was gonna say, so basically, in a crap hit the fan, you have to go out and do stuff. Yeah, don't dress in your camo and all that stuff. You just dress
Right.
like I mean, around here, you just dress like one of the local homeless people, and everybody just leave you the hell alone.
Yeah.
Especially
I mean,
you start mumbling to yourself and talking to yourself and just wandering aimlessly. Nobody's gonna bother you.
No, they won't because they think you're one of the homeless. I mean,
one of those crazy dudes. Just stay away. And then every now and then say, "Hey, can I have a couple dollars? Got a couple dollars? Have a couple dollars?"
Yeah.
You know, even when money's worthless, ask for money anyway. They'll really leave you alone. I mean, really,
Right.
you're out there looking for supplies. Then you find it and you throw it in your shopping cart underneath a bunch of garbage bags with aluminum beer cans in it.
Yeah.
You push it back to your house, and they just leave you alone.
I mean, just going down the highway 281. I mean, look in a drainage ditch. Look at there's homeless there that has 5 or 6 shopping carts that are tied together like a train.
Yep,
like,
loaded with their personal stuff, and most of it may be junk. Other stuff may not be junk. You don't know.
Yeah, I mean, fit in with your surroundings. That's what we don't ever talk about. We don't ever talk about this. You know, we talk about other kinds of what if situations. We don't. It's survival prepping. You know, SHTF is more than just the base concept. It is more than that. It is human interaction also that we always leave out. We always leave out how others, we don't ever look at a psychological aspect of what's going on with everybody else. We don't look at outside forces. We look at the major threat and we see how to navigate around the major threat. But we don't look at the fallout of everything else that comes crashing down. And even the survival books never talk about the mental capacity of what you're going to go through in your SAS handbook or your
being able to talk to people.
Right. Or just handle a situation when you're sitting there starving. When you're sitting there starving for 3 days, you're not going to be able to do 2 + 2, let alone do all your intricate knot work or your intricate, fire weaving techniques. You're
Fire weaving.
Yeah, you're going to spend most of your day throwing up stomach acids.
Yeah,
you know.
A lot of people don't think about things like even mourning. You might even be mourning. You might have lost some family.
Right.
So begin. Before you've even thought about food, water, whatever. I've lost my wife, lost my partner, lost my son, lost my mum.
You just don't come to grips with it.
I've lost everything. I mean, it's no good if someone goes, "Oh, hey, man, everything's okay. I've got a Leatherman wave."
Yeah, that don't make you feel better.
And also that goes full circle back around to the conversation that we were having about why can't you leave a city? Why can't you do anything else? It's because of other outside factors of that. Will your family follow you out in the middle of God knows where? Will your children accept going to a new school? Will your,
if you have children, if you have a family,
right.
Some people might be on their, you might be on your own where you may well be able to just leave on your own.
Yeah, that's an easier choice, but
yes,
you have to come to those decisions. You're in a city for a reason. You're where you're at for a reason.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's more than just you in a family or
sometimes
whatever.
you don't have the choice, right? You
Well,
you want your kids to have the
that's
schooling.
got to make a way out for me. I believe that when the time comes,
right.
I mean, the world's army, they need infrared, they need all the mod comms, they need this, that, the other. But God, we've got the Holy Spirit, and then it just says, right, stop, move, go left, go right, and we're just being watchful. And was talking about this information. I can't remember what the what link to give everybody. What PB was talking about, how to find out about these latest attacks going on, cyber attacks, and it's not like you're saying. Be aware of what's going on out there. So, I mean, if you know you're in a city that's going to be completely nightmarish, if the SHTF situation happens really bad, and there's a war, there's no food, everyone's got there's millions of people starving. It's literally going to be a very bad scene. So you're going to have to know, well, if I stay here, it's going to be very bad. So I have to go.
I mean, if you wanna look how people will react and what people will do for food, just look at what happened in Venezuela. There was people that were literally selling an hour with their wife to get a loaf of bread, or more harsher situations, and the whole thing of stockpile gold and silver and precious metals and jewelry and all this stuff. Guess what? That has a monetary value set by civilization. Gold and silver and all this other stuff is not going to sell you if they do what they did to Russia when Russia first attacked the Ukraine, and they literally dropped the ruble to like less than a penny.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
things are only valuable if it's valuable to them or to yourself.
Correct.
I mean, right? If you don't want the gold, there's no, you can drop a ton to them and be like, I don't care.
Yeah. I mean, if gold gold is what? $200 per ounce or something like that now?
No, it's like
right now.
But that's all right.
Yeah, well, you know what I mean. Like it's up there, but that is today. That is right now in a perfect world. If
the grid's up, society's still running, right?
If we fall into another depression where the dollar is nothing or any kind of currency is nothing, that means gold is worth nothing. That means silver is worth nothing.
That's a whole different debate topic there that I could go on for.
Well, I mean, I'm going by the depression.
Right, you can't eat gold, you can't eat silver. I get it. You're starving.
Right.
You got an ounce of gold. What are you going to do? Well, you got to go somewhere to find somebody that you can trade that ounce of gold. That is still worth something because it'll never be worth nothing. That's just a standard. It's always been worth something since the dawn of time that we can read about. But it's a matter of what can you get for it. So gold in the middle of the desert, you ain't going to buy a drop of water because
deserted island with a bunch of people.
Correct.
Right.
Well, no, like here in Texas, if you try to go to a farm and try to buy chickens and everything, you give them a gold coin, they're going to laugh at you because here they're farmers. They know the value of a chicken. Chicken is more than just meat. Chicken will feed you for as long as they can bring out a butt nugget. Like,
in a scenario where there is no stores and stuff like that, yeah, absolutely. But like today, if I ran up to one of the Amish places up here, up in PA, and offered them an ounce of gold for 3 chickens and a goat and stuff, they'd take it in a heartbeat because they can run down, convert that back, get supplies they need, convert it to fiat currency, and then go buy whatever they need to buy.
In a perfect world, in a perfect scenario.
The grid's up, the society is still running.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
In a collapsed society, silver, gold, they're not worth nothing. You just can't get anything for it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, there's going to be the money hungry people that will stockpile gold. It's just like, there was a movie in the 60s about collapse of society, where there was people that were like us that they didn't call them preppers or anything. They called them stockpilists or something like that.
Survivalists,
Mhm.
yes. Yep.
Yeah, like they had mounds and mounds of whatever, and they were money hungry. They were taking any kind of cash or gold or whatever because they were still saying, "Oh, when the economy comes back and everything, I'm going to be, richer than the richest man. I'm going to be richer than a king." But
That's if and when it comes back.
yes,
What
that's
happens in
if.
20 years? You got to make it
And
through that 20 years first.
yeah, I know gold can be melted down and be used as an insulator and all this other stuff, but you got to find somebody that's smart enough and willing enough to take that stuff to do whatever they need to do. You know what I mean? It's the same kind of vice versa.
Mm-hmm. Can I chime in here? There is something I want to bring up. It's just like, how do I say this? There's another subscriber of mine that I follow too, and he says instead of like stockpiling a bunch of Crisco, for example, to make candles, just stockpile the candles themselves. You know what I mean?
And
If
use
you're
the
planning-
Crisco
yeah.
for cooking.
Yeah, if you're planning to like barter gold or silver for food and water, actually have the food and water.
Yeah.
Right? Why go through this redirect of it, right? Stockpile the actual useful stuff. I think the gold and silver, if you have the extra funds for it, you have the extra time for it and stuff like that, but you need to square away the basic stuff first, because yeah. I think yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's a good backup if the system does not collapse all the way. You know what I mean? It's a good backup. But don't rely on that stuff.
Yeah. And you should have the food and water, ain't it?
Yes, rely on your basic needs. Don't say, "Well, I've got $72,000 in gold, and I'm going to use that to buy all our stockpile and everything." When SHTF happened,
This is what they've done to mankind. They've basically made people completely forget about how to harvest the land, how to work with nature, how to farm, how to be connected. It's just money. Money. I've got money. I'm going to go to the shop, get bread and milk. I don't have to do anything. I'm going to go home. I've got my microwave. I've got, don't have to do anything. Just whack it in the microwave. Bing, it's done. Sit on my sofa. I'm just going to press the remote control because I'm too lazy to get up and turn the telly over. Just information bombardment. 150 channels. We used to have 4 channels, and I think it was sufficient. And you got a little bit of this, you got a little bit of that, you got a bit of, but now all of a sudden you got like you spend half an hour going through 150 channels trying to find something to watch. I mean, I don't watch TV anyway. I mean, just watch things that I want to watch. But yeah, they've made people depend on money instead of the knowledge that we had farming. It's gone. If you took
the government is also a part of that plan. The government is to keep us at bay and rely on them.
Well, of course, this is what their plan. This is what the Industrial Revolution was all about. Get people out of their farms, out of their homes, working in a factory, and then women's liberation. Rockefeller comes along and says, "Oh, okay, I'll fund women's lib. I'll help them." And they don't realize that there was just more taxes. Rockefeller done it just to get women to work as well. All of a sudden, they're kidnapping people's children. They're in schools. In the schools, they're giving people's children stuff to make them change their sex. They can't even, the parents don't even have to know. I mean, it's just gone stupid now. It's just gone really crazy out there, crazy evil. And we got to.
That's why I say we need to focus on the events that happen now as preppers and survivalists and everything now, and not worry about 50 plus years ago. It's good to have that information, but like I said,
that knowledge though of 50 plus years ago, if you need to Like, okay, you're in the forest. You don't have refrigeration. You don't know how to preserve. So you might have someone in the group who says, "Oh, I know a method of how to get mud and sand, and you can build this, and you can put the stuff inside the vegetables in there, and it will preserve it." So these old methods, yes,
They're still
are
valid.
valuable too.
But we've also lost our natural inability to
If you
be
said, right, let me
humans
just pull out my
also.
laptop in the forest, and you said, let me just pull out my laptop, I'm going to say, okay, you're pulling out your laptop, but you've got no electricity to plug it in.
Well, look how many people go missing in 411 cases all the time, and they've got a cell phone on them, and they can't get signal. They can't call for help. They can't do anything.
Well, I think the system has also been designed to fail. It's a trap.
Yes.
They say, yeah, come into our cities, trust in money, just pay your taxes, pay for your mortgage, wait for the traffic lights to turn red before you cross the road, toe the line. And then people are saying, okay, we're doing that. And then next minute, your country doesn't look the same way as it was 50 years earlier. You see other people put in front of you. You see that other resources that's meant for the country is not going to the country, it's going to somewhere else. And then you're thinking, well, why am I paying my taxes? Why am I paying for this? Why am I paying for that?
Right. It just from when I leave San Antonio, Texas, coming back to Comal County, going from Bexar County to Comal County, right when I hit from Bexar County, which is San Antonio, and I hit the border of Comal County and Bexar County, I have 20 minutes of where I have no signal at all on my phone. Like, and until I hit the first, country, the first, like country city in Comal County, then I get my signal back. But then it's an emergency signal until I get my signal back. All of this stuff, I'm not telling people to rely on technology, because technology is going to fail you.
Yeah.
Even, and I'm a full supporter of the spot GPS locator whenever I go somewhere.
Right,
but the thing is that relies on technology. That relies on a signal wave to a satellite to be sent to emergency responders and everything if I'm ever lost in the woods or whatever. But the thing is even that spot GPS locator, if you are too far, if you're in a mountain range or something like that, and and it's like a satellite phone, if it's not a perfect signal, it will not send. So yes, you have to have some basic survival knowledge and not rely on everything. But the thing is this is 2024. Our technology is 10 times better and everything than it was.
It's true. I say to people, get a ham radio, have some way of communicating. Comms is important. You've got medical equipment that needs is updated as well. That's important. So it's true. We combine the skills of today and yesterday, to make a better tomorrow.
But but never stop looking towards the future, because the future changes every year. Even survival gear changes every year. It's the exact same knife, but it's got a new metal in it. It's got a T4 titanium jumbo Damascus or whatever in it now. Like, Shadow, show your A1, your fucking even A1.
A1.
Yeah, your fucking even knife, your baby knife.
Hey, I'm gonna bail. A DS CR second star. Thanks, been great. I learned lots.
Yes,
of stuff.
sir.
Take care.
Have a great night.
Take care, brother.
You take care, brother.
Yeah, you mean this one?
Yes, that. show them, you know, that knife right there. How much did you pay for it?
I paid almost 2,000 for it, 1,999. But this is more expensive now.
Yeah, and since that knife came out, there's what 50 other new knives that fucking even brought out and all this stuff that's supposedly better and whatever. Knives are like laptops, you know. You may buy a knife and now it's a limited run and it's expensive now, but there's always going to be something better or something more enhanced or whatever in it. It is a game. Survival and prepping and all this stuff is a game because they play on people's fears. Like, it is a business. It is a multi-billion-dollar business. In the last 20 years, it has skyrocketed. Like, 20 years ago, you didn't see all of the survival gear and everything that is out now.
Yeah, it's been hijacked, definitely.
Yes.
As usual, the same. Sadly, within this commercial world, everything's get hijacked. You know, you got your UCO stormproof matches, and then you got the £1 dollar store rainproof matches. Are they the same? No, they're not the same. You know, so it's a gimmick as well. But you know, yes, it's a trap. You got to be careful. It can become a trap. You know, so be humble. Work with what you got. If you can't afford an expensive knife, just get a Moira, something that's not as expensive.
Swiss Army knife.
Swiss Army knife. You know, if you can't afford a Leatherman, get something else that's mid-range.
Even a Swiss Army knife is overhyped anymore. Have you seen the new Swiss Army knife that they brought out, like, 5 years ago, that has over 1,000 different attachments to it and it's about the size of a brick? Like, who is going to put that in their survival bag? Who is going to actually use that in a survival situation?
You know,
look at the new wire filters.
In the UK at the moment, they've banned those little Esbit, you know, the Esbit stove fuel tablets.
Yeah.
They're banned in the UK.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, because it's considered a ever burning whatever. You can it's even banned over here for homeless people to have those Esbit stoves also because they've started fires and can't put it out with them. It's more of a safety hazard because, you know, homeless, you know, and I hate to say it, but, you know, homeless are not all homeless, but a majority of the homeless cause a lot of problems that ban a lot of stuff.
I'm surprised they don't ban propane at this rate.
Yeah.
Oh, did I say that?
Yeah.
But it's for kerosene.
Yeah, or something like that, right?
Time when it'd be very difficult to get this kind of stuff.
It's rare to get kerosene heaters in the United States anymore.
You try and go and get certain PPE, and if you're not a company, you can't buy it.
Yeah.
For example, if you want to get a full face gas mask, a really good one, I went to a company and they said, well, you've got to be a company. You need to have an account with us, and you're a civvy. So I'm thinking, loads of people are not prepared for nuclear war. Loads of people are not prepared for even, like, you know, your basic sort of colds, let alone nuclear war. You know, a lot of people never had hand sanitizer, face masks, the basic stuff. And you're going back to your gimmicks. The sick thing about this world, your things like face masks, all of a sudden, because of COVID, everything was tripling in prices, doubling in prices. There's people out there that want to make money. You know, we're dealing with a very sick time in the world.
Well, look at the 50s and the 60s when the first nuclear crisis happened. I mean, with Cuba and everything. You know, they were teaching school children how to hide under desks like it was an earthquake,
Yeah.
and they were only issued the masks and everything only during the training periods. And even then, if you looked at those old training videos and everything, those masks were loose as anything. You know, you're supposed to have a tight fitting seal and everything around a gas mask so it doesn't come underneath the mask. That's why it's a gas mask. That's why the world does not rely on nuclear protection as a main thing because of the after effects of nuclear, explosion. Like that is all it is seeing who can piss the farther when they talk about nuclear strikes and nuclear whatever. Look at when North Korea shot their missile. Okay, after they shot their missile, it was all a big uproar and everything for about a month. And now, do we ever talk about that anymore? No, we don't. It's the same thing that's going on with Russia. Russia's going to say the exact same thing like they did back in the 60s, like they did back in the 80s, and do nothing about it. That's why the world does not fear nuclear options, because they know that if any country does it, we're all screwed. We will all start shooting each other, and this whole world would be destroyed.
The American bases have been designed to take a first impact.
Yeah,
So
the bases, not outside.
Yeah, the bases have been designed. The reason why they designed them like that is because they don't want the enemy to know where they've got their real nukes. So if Russia sets off their nukes, then it will give it will give America the locations of where they're being fired from.
Yeah, but the thing is
they've designed their system to be able to take a first strike to survive.
Yeah, that's why they threaten. That's why they threaten to hit places that don't have bases. That's why they threaten to hit major cities, because major cities will, major cities is going to be destroyed. If they hit San Antonio, they'll take out San Antonio, Texas. And there's 4 military bases just in San Antonio alone. And the fallout, the radiation and everything, they cannot stop the radiation fallout. They can't. You cannot stop the radiation fallout. That means they'll hit the major city, then everybody's got to evacuate the military bases and get to a safer location. And by that time, just from the nuclear fallout alone, there's going to be X amount of people that's going to have that radiation in them that may or may not kill them, and it is a casualty of war. And I'm not a military person. I have a military family, but the thing is no country is going to hit a base directly. That's stupid. They are going to hit civilians. They are going to hit major business, like major areas of supply chains. They are going to hit those things. They don't care about hitting a military base. They will fall from the fallout. But if you can destroy supply chains, if you can destroy places that create food, factories, warehouses, stuff like that have major stockpiles of food, that slows down everything. You have to look at the other things of what they're looking at. They're going to starve y'all. They're going to starve us to death. They're going to hurt us in more ways than nuclear blast. And it's a long, never-ending cycle of this affects this, affects this, affects that. If you hit a water processing plant with a nuke, or the big bomb or whatever that Russia just shot, if you destroy a water processing plant that takes care of sewer water to return it back into drinking water and all this stuff, you affect more people that way than you do with a nuclear blast, because that poisons everybody.
Yeah.
Like, go ahead, Shadow.
Everything.
Yeah, I mean, you affect people's food chains. You affect farms. You affect drinking water. You affect, even taking a shower, and it has, feces in it. That makes you sick. Like, there's no
happening
Yeah,
in
go
the
ahead.
UK at the moment. It's happening in the UK. They do this sort of rowing competition every year. They do raising charity, and they've had to cancel it because of the level of E. coli in the water.
Yeah.
All across the country, they're finding out that the environment people haven't been sort of checking the water. There's no funding going into it. Of course, they've been killing people for thousands of years, and they're very knowledgeable of how to do it.
Right.
But the people don't realise that it's all a setup. A lot of people. If you say to someone, "Let's have a chat," about this and that, and they say, "Well, sorry, I haven't got the time because I've got the school run. I've got to go to work." So it's very difficult sometimes as well to talk to people about the bigger picture. If you say to people, "Oh, they're killing us, they're killing people." I mean, look at the crappy food. I mean, why did the people that the smoking companies, why did they all of a sudden invest so much money and time into the food industry?
Right.
Because they were
50 years ago,
at getting people addicted to smoking and advertising. So they were very good at doing the advertising and getting people addicted. So they get people to buy Kellogg's, to buy sneakers, to buy Coca-Cola, to buy whatever brand beer people buy. To support a particular football team, to watch a particular boxer. It's all focused.
Because we are sheep.
Yeah, they bring a guest on the show to say, "Hey, let's see this special guest today. Clap for him." And they say, "Oh, he's got a new book coming out," and then you'll see another couple of young people on the news, and they'll be like, "Oh, this is a new group, and they've got a new album out." Everything to do with money, promoting music, whatever you. But it's all
It's the same thing. It's the same thing with survival and prepping and everything too. I mean,
it becomes a gimmick. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a man and woman team in California right now. Okay, they sell a $10,000 luxury survival bag for high-end people.
Do they work with Canadian Prepper by any chance?
Well, they sell to rappers, they sell to movie stars, and all this stuff to have a survival kit with them that comes in a Gucci style bag.
It's a big market.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And they were on. You could see it. It's on Vice TV. You can go and look it up. Look up the $10,000 survival bag on Vice TV.
I mean, James Bond does it, doesn't he? He's got like survival helicopter in his booth.
Yeah.
James Bond's got a survival watch. You know,
Mhm.
he's got a climbing rope system in his watch. If he gets trapped on a mountain, he can, you know.
He's got a Mini Cooper that's built like a tank. I mean, it
So that's why people want to do that. That's why you got these people, rappers, people with money. They want these little gadgets, you know.
yeah.
One day, you know, so you might have a poorer version of someone that would buy a Swiss Army knife.
Do you got that, Shadow? Did you look it up? That $10,000 survival bag?
Even I've seen that
No,
video.
I
Even
haven't.
I've seen that video.
Yeah,
I've seen that. I've seen the
like
bling in that.
yeah.
I have to pick that up later.
The contents of that bag is about $150. It is just like an Amazon survival bag. It's got like it's got like 8 of those Navy oatmeal bars. It's got like
What?
8 of those. Yeah, it's got like 8 of the. Yeah, it's got Mylar blankets in it. It's got those pre-packets of water in it. The 6-ounce packets
If
of.
you're gonna make a bug-out bag for someone, make it a good one. Like, don't mess about.
No. We sell it for cheap to people that don't know what they're doing.
Yeah,
That's how you run the market.
They should be arrested for murder before they've even done it. You know,
Well, the thing is the people bought it thinking that they have the skills for it.
Yeah.
That's the thing with survival and prepping. There is 1 out of 10 that believe they have the skills and never once set foot outside. And that's why they die when something happens.
Yeah, they've never slept overnight in the wilderness before.
Right.
They've never been in a dark forest where it's all dark and you can't see literally anything, and you can hit any little snap of a twig, any sound. You know, they've never lived that. You know, well,
a branch pulled back has almost 35 pounds of torque in it. And you know a human body can only withstand 15 pounds of torque hit on them. A human ear can be ripped off with 10 pounds of torque. We are breakable. Like,
well, let them come. I'm ready for even their werewolves. Let them come.
Yeah.
Let them come. Let them send. Let them send their werewolves.
I'm a cryptid hunter, so
you're a what hunter?
I'm a cryptid hunter, like werewolves and stuff like that. Like we classify them as cryptids.
Yes. There's even stories in the scripture where someone was turned into a scripture, a scripted. What's his name? Was it what king was it that was turned into almost like a wild beast?
Yeah. What's his name?
Nebuchadnezzar, was it?
Yeah. Yeah. I could never say his name. Yeah. But I mean, even in the Catholic Church and everything, there was mention of a giant saint. Like, he was literally a giant. And there was, in the Catholics, there's also a dog-headed saint that had the head of a dog, like Anubis. But that's different. That's different. That doesn't do anything with survival.
Well, I mean, if we're in the forest, then there's going to be, you know, we need to be at least.
I mean, you can learn to cuddle up with Bigfoot.
Well, I think there is a scripture that says we're going to see some very, very strange things in the future, and it's just, you know. Have you seen what people do? Body modifications. I mean, you know, people put vampire teeth. They put like horns on their heads.
Yeah.
I mean, they're kind of like normalizing, sort of demonic stuff. And even in films, they like have someone who looks like half a demon, half a reptilian. He's in a police uniform, and he's like, you know, works for New York City, and he's got a partner in the police car.
Yeah.
In films like the future, they talk about transhumanism. They're talking about the Neuralink.
It's not even the zombie movies.
Yep.
It's not even.
Well, did you hear about? Here's what for the zombie people. Okay, y'all know the British movie 28 Days Later. where the monkeys bit, escaped and everything and bit humans and turned them into zombies. Well, in North Carolina, during what happened during the tornado and everything that happened, there was a medical research facility that had 48 chimpanzees escape into North Carolina. So, and they were medical test subjects. So, who knows what's going to happen out there?
Well, I guess we'll find out 28 days later.
Right?
I'm sorry, I had to.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, it's just I think being spiritually prepared is very important as well. Not just like,
I mean, it's good to have faith. It is. Like,
well, yeah.
Well, it's all important.
I mean, if a lot of people are going to be cracking up because they can't go to their ATM machine, they can't get Coca-Cola, they can't go McDonald's. I mean, people are literally going to be cracking up because, the way of life that they know is going to be, gone. I mean, it's understandable. I mean, if you was in Ukraine and you woke up one morning and you looked and half your estate, your block was destroyed, half the city was destroyed. There was no buses, no services, no doctors, no police, no law and order, no electric, no gas. I mean, your whole world would be upside down.
Well, just look at what happened in North Carolina. Look at, there was no FEMA that came out to help. There was no...
Of course. Well, yeah, because lithium is more important to the government, you see, than people. And the electricity, their future agenda is more important. And, for people that don't know why I just said lithium, is because there's been ongoing battles in the area for lithium mining.
Yeah, when push comes to shove, the government is not here for you.
Of course
it's not. It never will be. Even the military.
They were stopping people from taking supplies into the area.
It's the world relies too much on outside forces to take care of them. Yeah. It has been that way since forever.
Well, look at Katrina. Do you remember Hurricane Katrina?
Yeah.
When people were like all put in a stadium, a sports stadium, and some of them were there for 3 days. There were people being mugged. There was people being raped.
There was people on the roofs of their house surrounded by alligators because they did not have the means to leave. And that's what I was, and that goes all the way full circle again to, what we were talking about earlier.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, you have to look at, most people don't have the means to actually take care of a true event when it happens. We may think we're prepared, but we are not. Because it is what we're preparing for is in a perfect world right now. And when I say perfect world, I mean you can. Yeah, the grid's up. You can go to a grocery store. Yeah.
You've got a heads up to a specific thing that will hit you, and you've prepped for it. A specific thing, but because we don't know which specific thing is going to hit us, if it's going to be, whether it's going to be a war first, or a virus first, or a natural disaster first, it's hard to sort of know.
You can go to the next town over, next city over.
Me and Vanessa and CR and everything on my live stream, we talked about this. Most people that are preppers and survivalists have medical problems. And the way the world is if you have a deathly medical problem, you have no way of stockpiling your medical prescriptions. You don't have a way, because the way the medical system is set up, they don't
so much.
Yes.
You can't even get antibiotics. You can't even get antibiotics here.
Right. Like, if you have high blood pressure, okay, have you
heart medication?
Yeah, heart medication. Type 1 diabetes, where you're insulin dependent. You know,
So we can't get PPE, we can't get the meds, we can't get good survival gear because like some of it is very, very expensive. So
right.
it all seems the balance seems against us.
It is. It
And then
is
also they're
because
trying to get rid of knowledge. They're trying to get rid of faith. Don't let them know about God. Don't let them know about goodness. Don't let them know about unity. Don't let them know about
Well,
kindness. Don't let them know about love and working together because it doesn't make profit.
well,
We want
there,
to sell guns. We want to sell tanks, and these things kill people. We know. I know it's a bit wrong, but we sell this stuff. We make money. If we was like into love, we wouldn't be able to sell this stuff, and we wouldn't be able to bomb people because we want the resources. We want the certain stuff that they've got in the ground.
the real
And
just to
people's lives doesn't matter.
just to add back into that, like we were saying earlier, and this is why no one wants to help anyone anymore at times. No, like I've seen it for myself.
Yeah.
In front of my eyes, right? Someone collapsed. It's just like I just saw people walk by. I was just like, I couldn't.
Well, people are afraid to help each other in this world is because if
Yeah.
you do something,
Oh, you're gonna get
even
sued.
like me, I'm first aid certified and all this stuff and everything. But my company, if somebody's sitting and dying in front of me, there is one of the shock things that
AED.
yeah, that thing. And I'm not allowed to use it on a person because if I do it wrong, I kill that person and now I go to jail.
Yeah.
That's why people do not want to help each other is because of the way the laws are, the way that there is
Yeah.
lawyers
Oh,
and
you screwed it
families.
up. You screwed it up. Okay, you got consequences for that kind of thing, right? Then no one wants to help
Yeah,
at all.
yeah. You took
Let alone
on
call 911. No, I want
yeah.
but I can come out and record it. I'm not
Yeah,
getting in trouble for that.
there was a security guard for another company called Blue Armor. Okay, he was at a post and two guys shot each other. All right, like they both shot each other, and he could all because he was the only security guard and he was first aid certified and everything. He could only go to one and not the other. And now he's going he's going to court and everything because he chose one guy over the other instead of let them both bleed out and die.
Oh
And
yeah, that choice. Okay, that's
it's that
that's a hard choice. I mean,
yeah,
I mean,
do you let the train run into one person that has multi-million dollars, or do you let it run into a group of nuns? It's that kind of question.
You know what that reminds me of right now?
Yeah.
You know what that reminds me of?
What?
The Dark Knight movie. He had to make that choice too. And look, right? And he had to live with the consequences of not saving one person or why did you save me? You should have saved her. Remember that. That's part of the story, right? And he had to live with that.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's the exact same thing. We're all and I'm a prepper. I do survivalism. I do prepping. But the thing is reality is not what we think it is. Especially when it's push and shove. If you have a group of people and everything that you think is your best friends and you've known each other since kindergarten, and two of them get shot because I don't know, marauders or gang members are coming to your compound to raid you. Well, you can only save one or the other, but guess what? This guy has a wife and children that's in the compound, and this other guy is your best friend since childhood. You save your friend from childhood, and now you got to talk why you let that woman's husband and that daughter's father die.
Yeah, it's like if you only have one antidote, but there's two people.
Right.
Right. That choice is extremely hard, and you have to live with it too after.
And now you've got to worry about, oh, now they hate you. Now they want you dead. And now you're going to have to, after that and everything, now you're going to have to kick them out of your compound because you don't know what they're going to do to you. You don't see those situations, now do you? No. Nobody sees that situation because you took their loved one away. You took the loved one away, not the gangsters, not you know, somebody that's starving to death, that's, you know, shooting at your compound or whatever. You are the target now, not the gangsters.
Because you're the one that made that choice.
Right, and they relied on your protection.
Yep. Like
we
I said,
have.
Goes back.
Go ahead.
No, that's why it goes back to like when I see these things, like in a fictional environment, I'm just like, that can actually happen in the real world too, right? If you have to make the exact same choice, it's probably don't play out like that, where you're gonna be like yelled at and be like, why the hell did you do something?
Right.
Are
you ready to take those chances? Are you ready?
And live with that. And live with that too afterwards, right? Are you able to move on from that? Are you able to look at people in the eye and be like,
Yeah.
I mean,
can you do that? You end up losing your humanity because of the decisions you make. And don't say, well, faith is going to give me this. Faith is going to, religion is going to give me this. No.
You have
to make these decisions.
And you
as a human. Yeah.
Right. We can say whatever, right? Oh, I would choose this. I would choose that. I would. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but wait until there's only 1 minute left on the clock.
Right.
You have to make that choice, right? Do you pass? It's just like, in sports. Do you pass to the right side or to the left side?
Yep. Right. Yeah. It's all. That's why prepping and survivalism is never 100%. It never will be.
Yeah. Those are the choices that are the hardest to make.
Yeah. Like, if you are truly wanting to be a prepper and you truly are wanting to be a survivalist, you have to handle every mentality and every situation. Like, you have to be ready for it.
Yeah.
Well, some people are already surviving in this situation, and they've already been survivors for a long time, and survival is a very big subject. It's not just we're running into the bushes and bringing out a moira knife and being able to put two sticks together.
Yeah,
there's many forms of survival. There's people that are struggling in the city to find a job. They've got a wife, they've got children, they've got things to they need. And there's many situations in many countries I've seen is very extreme. I've seen situations where a guy in Africa went undercover reporting, and he went and found a job, and he was getting 50 pence a day, and he was doing a video documentary about the corruption in Africa, and he was literally getting 50 pence a day, and this was some 20 years ago, and he was showing how in order to go to work he had to pay the people at the gate a few pence, and just to go inside the yard where he can get work. And in order to get a little, he rented a little room, which was basically in Shantytown. It was basically built of corrugated iron, and there was no flooring. It was just like, just dirt on the floor, no windows, and it was like just basically. And basically, there was also a local mafia that he had to pay certain pennies every week as well. And
that's survival.
That's serious survival there. So from 50,
like the homeless people, day to day, right?
The man at the gate, he's got to pay the man at the gate some pennies, and then he's got the mafia where he lives. He's got to pay them some money, and and then he's got. Imagine if he had a wife and children. So then you've got people in New York. There's another extreme. In America, it's not like England. In America, if you're not paying your rent, police can draw the gun on you. Right out, get out of the apartment.
Yeah.
In England, you kind of got squatters' rights, so it's a bit different here. But
See, here in America, they will cut your electricity off first. They will cut your water off second. Then they will come and kick you out.
Yeah, utilities first.
Yeah, they do your basic necessities, and that's the mindset of survival. The basic necessities: food, water, electricity, and shelter.
Right now, there's people living out of their cars. There's people living, homeless, and they've still got a job. There's extremes of, there's extremes of survival going right on now. There's people that are in Alaska. There are people living off the land. There are people hunting and gathering.
I had to kick a couple that was living in their car out of the parking garage that I was guarding, because after a certain hour the parking garage is closed. So, and people can't be in the parking garage because it's for the business and everything. So once it shuts down, you have to kick them out. And, it's like, it's kind of the same way that, Europe was doing with the gypsies. You can't just go and park wherever you want to in a car because you're living in your car. You can't.
Places here in Canada too.
Yeah.
I mean, there was here out west. There was a street with a bunch of RVs, and they removed all the RVs with police and tow trucks.
Yep.
All right. So,
yeah, they'll tell you even if you're living in a car out here in the city, like they don't care. They will tow you if you're parked in a place that says no towing.
This area, we're getting complaints from people around in the neighborhood, and so forth and so forth. Right? Yeah. So that's a very hard thing because you got to keep adapting, right? You got to keep modifying your space.
Yeah.
Go to a new,
you have to keep
space
on the go.
Yeah.
Like that's why I say in a perfect world, there's all these laws and everything that keeps people normal. That keeps people quote unquote safe. And
civilized.
When those laws and everything pass, you think the police are going to keep staying at their job when there's no money? You think the military is going to stay at their base when there's no money? No. If a true apocalypse happens or something, you don't think that those people don't have families that they're going to run back to and protect and leave their job? Yeah,
priorities. Right.
They're not going to. Right. They're not going to be here to protect you. The cops are going to drop their badge and everything and go to their family. Yeah. And when there's no cops, guess what happens? Everybody turns into a feral beast. Everybody will. And you think that old lady down the street that goes to church every day and all this stuff is going to be that same sweet old lady? No. That old lady and everything will probably be the first person to poison you because they don't know who you really are. And it's easier to take a pie from an old lady than it is from a 20-year-old, is it not?
There's a saying like that?
Yeah.
I never knew there was a saying like that.
I mean, if an old lady or a 20-year-old okay, if you chose between the old lady and CR, who are you going to take the pie from? You're going to take it from the old lady. Sorry, CR, but it's the truth. It's the truth because you feel a sense of.
Oh wait, like she's not going to whip it at you as hard.
Right, she's not.
Don't hold back.
Yeah, you have a sense of like family reminiscence with her.
Yeah. She'll aim for the side of your face, not directly at you or something like that. Yeah,
right.
Okay,
Like,
okay.
CR,
that makes me
you're
feel
more
better.
of a threat to me. I'm sorry. You're younger. You're stronger. You're faster than me.
No. Only one of them is true.
Well, I'm just saying, like, you're younger. The whole aspects and everything of it. Like, you are technically in your prime. I'm old. You know, like it. Stop it, CR.
No.
But
you have to bring me over.
I know. But I'm talking about compared to you and an 80-year-old woman. You know, it's easier for me to take on an 80-year-old woman.
Okay, everyone, this is my time here. I said to him, I said 20 minutes, half an hour ago.
Oh, I saw it.
I know. But I had to let these two talk, and then I had to chime in. And he brought me back in there.
I did.
I know, but now he apparently the old lady's more valuable. So I'll just slide out right here.
No, I'm just saying the threat value. The threat value. And also, I was bringing in food, so you're getting out of a good time.
All right. Anyways, thanks for having me on like usual. I'll catch you guys later.
Take care, CR, brother.
Later. See the real.
Take care, CR.
Later, Sideshot.
But I mean, we have to look at all aspects of everything. We do. If you're not willing to accept, that a older person is going to see you on the other side later, you're a fool. You are. Because when the world stops, there is nobody that's safe. When laws and everything stop, just look at the last 6 or 7, situations that happen. Well, like not world ending, but almost civilization ending events that's happened around the world. If you don't want to believe me, and if you think I'm crazy, look for yourself. Open your eyes and look at the reality of everything. Look at Venezuela. Look at Katrina. Look at look at the COVID. Look at the raids and everything that happened in America during COVID. I mean, not the raids, but the events that happened with a certain group. When humans have enough, they are not the exact same people as you will see them walking down the road when cops are around.
People don't even know each other now, let alone when the stuff happens. I mean, we might say, oh, you've had an old school friend, I've known him for years. You were saying earlier, the reality is as well, sadly, a lot of people don't really know each other because everybody's got their little secret thing that they're doing, that they don't, their friends don't know everything about them. So everybody's got their little what have you as well. So when stuff gets really bad and they can't get their little fix or whatever they're doing, then you're going to see their true colours.
Yeah.
But as I'm going to have to stop there. I'm going to have to go. I'm going to have to go now as well and say good night to everybody. But it's been very interesting.
I'm going
show.
to wrap things up anyway. So
getting a bit late now. Coming up to 11:30 UK time, London. But
Yeah,
it's
5 hours is
it's been a very
good
long
stopping
show.
point, Shadow.
You got to let Shadow get
It's,
some rest as
after
well.
midnight here, so
Yeah, I was gonna say it's pretty
Okay,
late
well,
for you, ain't it, Shadow?
good night from me,
Yeah.
guys.
it's all
Take care, brother.
See you, Shadow. God bless
12:30.
you. See you, everyone.
See you, brother.
Take
See you,
care.
Second Star.
But it's just one of those things. Just make sure you protect yourself. That's all I can say, because ain't going to be nobody else out there that's going to help you. And when push comes to shove, even your own blood's going to backstab you in a event like what most of us are prepping for. It's sad to say, but it's true.
Yeah.
And that was it. That was it from me, Shadow.
Yeah. Well, I wrap things up now because I need to go to bed. I'm
Yeah.
pretty
You
tired.
take care of yourself, Shadow. And I'm glad
Yeah, you
I
too.
actually was able to talk today.
Yeah.
All right. Everybody take care. And I'll see y'all next time. Take care, Shadow brother.
Take care.
Take care. Ooh.
Okay, guys. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. I'll see you next week, same time, same channel. Have a nice day, nice afternoon, morning, evening, night, wherever you are. Thanks, Grumpy. I hope so. A good night's sleep doesn't hurt at all. That's all for today's stream, guys. And I will see you in the next one. God bless.